It's Wendy's.
They play Monday night, and we get to find out once again what this rest of this league looks like. We're going to tell you right now the Eagles are in a good spot. We'll discuss that today. And also, the Phillies win again. Sweep, sweep. Also, cricket. We'll explain more coming up. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
I think highly of Jalen Hurts. I don't think as high as Jalen Hurts as a lot of people. That's who I think he is, whereas I think you think higher of him.
If you have that impression of him, which is fair, the bottom line is he can't play like that.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Wendy's Thursday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. John, I wasn't going to mess that part up. Good morning.
Good morning to you, too.
I mean,
and
that's
it is
the only
a beautiful
reason why I'm
day.
here. Every Thursday.
9
Magic
is your number in your powders.
Yep, magic number is down to 9. It's an unbelievable time to be a Philadelphia Phillies fan and a Philadelphia sports fan in general. And that's what we're going to start with right away when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. John, the Philadelphia Eagles have spoiled people like me and Connor and my fellow 29-year-olds.
Yeah,
don't want to get too far, Connor.
Spoiled, rotten, silver spoon Philly fans.
Oh, I've been spoiled my entire life because the Eagles have been successful. Have they won numerous Super Bowls? No, but I saw one within the first 30 years of my life, which people like you and people like my father.
You've seen 3.
Appearances, yes.
Correct. You've seen 3 Super Bowl Sundays.
Which is more than what
which is freaking awesome.
a lot of people in Philadelphia can say before the age of 30.
No, it was awesome. I mean, absolutely amazing. It's a golden era.
It is.
This means this is where you guys talk about the Sixers. Sixers have never given us even a silver era. This is a golden era of Eagles football.
Absolutely.
Got to cash in more, though.
And the golden era has been going on for, let's face it, 20 years. I know there's been blips.
Turn of the century.
Right? Chip Kelly had a bad year, and that's why he got fired. Doug Peterson had a bad year. That's why he got fired. Andy Reid had a bad year. That's why he got fired. I mean, it happens in sports. But what doesn't normally happen in sports is the quick turnarounds that we've seen from the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, when Andy Reid gets fired, Chip Kelly gets them into the playoffs in year 1.
And then they win, and he wins 10 games again the next year.
Right, just it doesn't play out in their favor when they miss the playoffs.
I mean, does that lead you to believe that when those coaches were let go, that they really let go of coaches that had pretty good teams and we overreacted, or what? Like,
no, I mean,
when you think about it.
I mean,
Chip Kelly had to go.
He had to go because
everybody in the building wanted him
horrible.
out.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just
he was a bad person.
Scheme and his belief that I can run my offense at a million miles per hour and then, who cares about my defense if they're winded or not, right? But no, he was also a horrible human being, whereas you didn't get that out of Doug Peterson, but he was set in his ways with keeping his coaching staff, and that's why he ultimately got fired. And ultimately, I believe Nick Sirianni is still here because he said yes to Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, which probably wasn't a hard yes to say to, right? Like, I think that's an easy thing to say yes to.
Will you accept this rose? I'd be running to both of them.
Bottom line is, we've had it great in my lifetime, Connor's lifetime, but in your last 20-plus years,
you've been fantastic.
You've had it great. And it continues this season, John. You know, we talk a lot about Jalen Hurts, as we should. He's the franchise quarterback. And we debate whether or not he's in the top 10. Imagine debating whether or not your quarterback's not in the bottom 5.
Or debate. Well, at that point, it's not a debate. It's just get him.
Like Daniel
Jones. Idea is the worst place where you guys have talked about it many times. Do you keep him or let him go?
Right.
What is this guy? That's a horrible conversation.
It's a horrible
But you know what? We have all these kind of conversations, and we don't. The scrutiny on Jalen Hurts is huge, as it is in any quarterback in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and look, we're in a year right now, and Adam Schefter has said this to us numerous times when he's joined us on Wednesdays, where this is a big year for Jalen Hurts, for the perception of Jalen Hurts league-wide, but also maybe inside NovaCare. We saw how quick the Eagles were to move on from Carson Wentz. Now, full disclosure, I don't believe this is happening. Like, I don't believe that's going to happen. I think he's going to play well.
Right.
I think he's going to do plenty to be the quarterback of the Eagles moving forward. But, I mean, that's the beauty of where we're at right now, that we're debating whether or not this guy's a top 10 quarterback. I came to the realization that he might not have to be, and they're going to still be able to win. We look at this offense, John. It's embarrassing what the league has allowed the Eagles to have an A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and
It
Dallas
is.
Goedert, Saquon Barkley, and an offensive line, and a defense that's trending upwards. We have it very good here, man.
Yeah, we do. No, we have it epically good. And the fact is, my entire lifetime, I feel like, before the last few years, I always felt like there was that one thing that they never could fix, and it was wide receiver.
Right.
And when it was fixed, the 1 year with Terrell Owens, it was a joyous feeling that you couldn't believe. Going, okay, this is what we've always wanted.
Right.
And then it just didn't fall apart. I mean, it fell apart. Even in the Macklin-Deshaun Jackson days, I don't believe that the Macklin-Deshaun Jackson combination was anything close. And it's going to be disrespectful to some of the Deshaun Jackson fans. Not even close to what you got with Brown.
Oh, absolutely, it's not even close.
Brown and Smith are different characters
Now,
altogether.
at the time, Jackson and Macklin was the best duo probably of all time
There's
in
no
Eagles
question.
franchise history.
I mean,
right?
not even a question. And I enjoyed watching both of them play.
Right.
I think that Jeremy Macklin is what you got is you have an upgraded version of that right now, and you got an upgraded version of T.O.
Yeah, I mean, look,
T.O. in his prime.
You may have the best duo in the NFL, which I still believe that they do have that. I mean, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are great, right? And Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel are great. But I think highly of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Duh, everybody should. So I want to know today from you, the audience, at 610-632-0975, just how good are the Philadelphia Eagles? I know it's only been 1 week. Right, half the league is 1-0, the other half is 0-1, and that doesn't really matter in the long run. Even though it was a great first win for the Eagles because of the NFC opponent, who the Green Bay Packers were, right? But the Eagles have a good start; they're 1-0. But I want to really try to find out how good the Eagles are because there's something that you say, John, that's so spot on. We are so close to the Eagles, and we ignore other teams, whether they're good or whether their situations are so much worse. The Eagles are in a great situation. And I know people every once in a while will say, well, hold on a second. I'm still worried about the defense. I'm still worried about whether or not these guys are going to be good. How come this guy's not a starter when they paid him decent money, right? I understand where people come from. But, man, our concerns are nowhere close to probably half the league and maybe two-thirds of the league. I mean, the Eagles are a top 10 team, so that tells you right away that two-thirds of the league is in a worse spot than the Eagles. Some of them have bright futures, but there's others that are just spiraling out of control. The New York Giants are going to be in a lot of trouble for a long time, and that's a team in your division.
And unless they get the quarterback right in the next draft,
right?
Someone falls into their lap that is really, really good,
which is possible,
and then they can rebuild in a couple years. But they're off the grid for a little bit.
Yeah, they are.
And Washington could be ascending. I mean, I do not like the fact that Washington, I believe they did get their quarterback.
Okay.
I don't like that. But do I think it's going to be an immediate challenge to the Eagles? If it is, that's a problem on the Eagles front.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I don't believe that's going to be the case. So to me, we're sitting in a great spot in a great window. And that to me though adds its own level of pressure.
Yes.
About taking advantage of the window while you got it.
Right, because
this should be
even though he always does it, how he finds a way to fix everything, but
you should go 5-1 in your division this year.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where you say, take advantage of it. Because I believe going 5-1 in the division compared to 4-2 can be hosting the NFC Championship.
Right. We've talked about the NFC a lot leading up to the season.
Yeah.
I know the 49ers look dominant, and I believe they still will be. The Lions win their first game. It wasn't the prettiest of wins, but they're probably going to still be toward the top of the NFC. But this Eagles team, talking about that window and talking about all the talent they have, they better be in the conversation come December, January of fighting for the top seed in the NFC. There might be a chance that San Francisco wins 15 games, and okay, you can't do anything about that. They're not going to, though.
Here's why they're not going to. And here's why I think, and I told you before, I went on record as the Eagles would be the number one seed. I believe the fact that the San Francisco 49ers, you look at the Eagles, you should be able to go 5-1 in the division. You should be able to beat Washington and the Giants twice.
Yes.
Split with the Cowboys. You always split with the Cowboys. San Francisco has to navigate 2 with Arizona, 2 with the Rams, 2 with Seattle.
Yeah, it's true. And I think Arizona's going to be a decent team.
And by
year.
the way, San Francisco has to navigate the Dallas Cowboys, and the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Last year's number 1 teams. while the Eagles get to play the second-place team.
And let's also say this. They have to navigate playing in a Super Bowl last year, an NFC Championship game the year before that, a Super Bowl in the year before that. Like, there's a lot of tread on some of the tires of some of those players.
Yeah, I mean, that could very well be part of it, be part of this whole thing. So to me, I think the Eagles, we should almost be expecting they're a one or I would think you're expecting them to be a 1 or a 2 seed.
Absolutely.
And then it's just a matter of, can you get the 1 seed? It's sort of like where we're sitting with the Phillies right now.
Right.
Same type of thing. You think they should be a 1 or a 2 seed. It's just a matter of which one they end with.
Right.
The only thing is there's such an advantage to be in the 1.
Oh, yeah,
Having that
because
bye is
now there's only one bye week.
And you're never traveling.
Yeah.
You're not traveling, and you get that rest week.
Yeah, and that's
huge.
important. That's why,
huge.
when we've done our predictions and everything, I don't know about Week 18, right? I put W/L because it could be a point where you're not playing anybody, or it could be a point where you are playing somebody to lock in the 1 seed. And right,
and you're going to want
expect them
that.
to be fighting for that.
Or if you're trying to lock in, and I don't want to put a negative on it, if you're trying to lock in the 2 seed, because then the 2 seed, even though you have to play Week 1, you get the home field.
You're home
guaranteed
field,
home field
championship
Week
game.
2. So, and you hope somebody upsets somebody. You can get
Right,
it.
absolutely.
So you're going to fight for that 1 or 2 seed as long as you got it.
Right.
Which is, but I mean, think of what we're talking. Like, just think of the conversation we're having this morning on September the 12th. It's a great time to be an Eagles fan.
It is, and I look at some of the other teams, and it's not just
It's a
not
great
just
time.
the Panthers, and they look like they're in trouble because I think Bryce Young. I've been saying this since
He doesn't
before
look
Week
good.
1. I think he stinks, and I watched some stinky quarterback play out of him in Week 1 on Sunday. But even a team like the Rams, right? Like, I like Matt Stafford. I think Matt Stafford is severely underrated, right? But Matt Stafford could be done at any minute. I thought he was done 2 years ago. He proved me wrong. I thought he was going to be done last year. He proved me wrong.
Well, he gets injured, too.
Right. There's a chance
Part
that
of it.
think about this. That team that had basically no draft picks for like 3 years. Now all of a sudden they're starting to get some of those guys back and they're starting to draft talent. Their best defensive player retired in Aaron Donald early, young. Right. Sean McVay has contemplated retirement already for whatever reason.
I think it's because there was a huge TV offer made to him.
Okay.
And I think he's going to get another one at the end of the year.
I wouldn't be surprised. And then it's Matt Stafford. You're kind of holding on to an aging player who is injury prone, who at any point could be over. Like, it's not just we have it good for the Eagles in 2024, John. We have it good for the Eagles over the next 3 years.
It is. And the weird thing is, I'm surprised the FCC hasn't swooped in on us, because this isn't supposed to be what you hear in Philadelphia Sports Talk Radio. You're supposed to hear where the
Is this a must-win game on Monday?
where the building is burning, and the over amplification of the struggles of Jalen Hurts is something that fascinates me, because it is the epitome of somebody looking for the blemish on the hot girl at the
Right.
pool. Your buddy goes, "Man, that girl's gorgeous." Hey, you see, she's got that little blemish on her cheek. Like, I mean, that's what you're looking for with Jalen
Right.
Hurts. I do not think it is I think the discussions of how much you have to decide about. I know who Jalen Hurts is.
Right.
I know who he is. I don't need him to go pass for 80% every single week
No,
or
he doesn't
anything
have to
like
throw
that.
for 400 yards.
I know who he is, but I'm not setting the bar at an unrealistic height.
Right.
That I'm expecting him to be Tom Brady.
Right, because he's not.
He's not,
And that's okay.
And you see, that's the key that you keep coming back to. It is okay.
It's okay. You got so much talent. Just play good. Just play safe football.
It rolls back to our game manager discussion.
Yeah.
Whether people look at it as a positive or a negative. And I guarantee you Jalen Hurts would look at it as a negative.
Yeah,
he was
would.
told. He would look at
yeah.
it as a put down.
Yeah.
He would look at it as something to get fired
I
from.
know what people are saying about
Right,
me.
exactly.
And, yeah.
I would tell you it would be done with the highest of praise if he's able to execute it. I haven't seen him able to execute it enough effectively the last year and some.
So just how good is this Eagles football team is question one at 610-632-0975. But I'll also ask this. Do you believe that we have it good? I don't see how anybody could say that we don't, but to your point, John, there are people that are always looking for something, like people still don't give Howie Roseman enough credit, right? People.
Well, I think they're looking at Roseman. They're looking at this season and going, what did he like? What's Bryce Huff going to be?
Okay, but I could say
What?
What did Saquon Barkley do?
Okay,
3 tutties.
okay. I would tell you this: someone deciding that Saquon Barkley is going to be a great player doesn't take Howie Roseman level of IQ.
Okay.
Doesn't take Howie Roseman level of insider information. Choosing Bryce Huff and throwing money at Bryce Huff absolutely requires data, analysis, and making a decision, because not one of us was talking about Bryce Huff 2 days before he was
weren't.
signed.
Yeah, you're right.
And I would promise you 70% of this fan base couldn't have told you who he played for.
Right, maybe. Okay.
So to me, I think the people who question Howie Roseman will always be able to look at that and go, what the hell happened here?
Right.
So that's
I'm
where
happy to take responsibility for all of that.
and that's where Howie Roseman has to is still I think where he still gets the doubt from people.
I hear you. We're having a conversation on coming up at 8:10.
I understand it. I'm looking forward to
So
it.
you could text it. You could call on 610-632-0975. Just how good are the Philadelphia Eagles? If you take a step back, entire landscape of the NFL could be a conversation for today. They do have a lot of guys locked up. I think it's a lot better than what a lot of people almost realize or give credit for. Now, I also want to have this conversation. But John and Connor, I want to try to be nice.
Try to be nice to whom?
Don't. I want to try to
Or
be.
is it who? It's whom or whom?
I want to try to be nice. And I want to talk to a certain group of people that may shut us off when we have this conversation.
No, don't
because-
talk politics. We don't talk politics.
No,
on
not
this.
politics.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good.
No, but it's probably the same lunatic fringe.
Maybe more so.
Yeah. It's the people that thought the Phillies stunk, or the people that said they wouldn't make the playoffs or win the division, or the Phillies are done. And
I'm not hearing from them much anymore.
even if they do make the playoffs, they're going to lose right away. For those of you who are a part of that group of people, why are you quiet? What happened?
It's easy to we have to sit behind a microphone every day. So when we do something stupid or say something stupid, we have to own it.
Yes.
We got to eat it publicly.
Not that happens often.
And not that, like,
for me, at least.
when Connor says something dumb or I say something dumb or you do that we don't, like, sort of rush to point it out to the audience and have some fun with it. I was fascinated by it at the time, and I kept finding every time I would use the GIF of or GIF of double down, I would find different ways to say double down.
Yep.
Every time someone was telling me they're going to choke away the division, they're going to choke away the playoffs, they're going to choke away. My own brother was doing it 2 weekends ago.
Come on!
Like this. Everybody worried about the Phillies now.
I knew I couldn't trust those Kincades.
I'm like, what are you doing, Doc? What are you doing? What have you seen that's making you now go, oh, I don't know. Oh my God. The Phillies have never had a magic number of 9 on September 12th.
Yeah. Well,
Never. In their history, ever.
9.
It's as good. I mean, it's freaking 9.
Yeah.
And you still, but here's why you haven't heard from them. Because those people are out digging in their yards right now. They're digging. No, well, that's a whole nother. That's metaphorically. They're digging up the goalposts.
Oh, to move them.
So they have to keep moving because now it will be, they will resurface and they will go, oh, what if the Dodgers passed them for the 1 seed? Then it'll be, see, they had the 1 seed, they gave it away. We told you. No, you didn't. You told us they were going to choke away the playoffs or choke away the division because you were sitting peeking out from under the covers going, oh no.
See, I said I wanted to be nice.
No, I'm not being nice.
And you're
about
not
this.
being very nice.
No,
I know Connor's not going to be very nice.
I will call myself on stupid things that I say or do, and I'll own them. I won't delete a tweet. I won't come on here.
Not.
So you own this one, and know every single one of you is welcome.
Yeah.
You're all welcome.
Absolutely.
Now hold
You're
on.
all welcome.
Hold on. But there is a caveat to that.
Oh, wait a minute. Whoa. You're putting up a gate? What's the gate?
No, I'm not putting up a gate. I just, look, if I open the gate,
You can't go back out again.
Yeah, so here's my deal. And this is a problem that I have every single year with a lot of sports fans. I want the people who were those under-the-covers scared Phillies fans
gosh.
that were completely ridiculous. Okay?
It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. If you are listening right now and you were one of those fans, it is okay to admit that you were completely ridiculous.
The lead got down to 6 at one point. Wow. A 6-game lead.
Are you ready to say, my bad, I may have overreacted a bit?
I know a few of the people are going to come out and do it.
Okay, but if you do, you need to promise us You're not going to go right back if they lose a few games.
I said that those same people would be the first ones in the door at Rally House.
Okay.
Getting their gear before Red October.
All right, so answer that question as well. 610-632-0975. Coming up next, we hear from Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. It is a breath of fresh air, John, when you hear a competent offensive-minded coach having competent press conferences.
It's nice.
There's some great audio coming your way next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The food for you, as we will be provided with some breakfast burritos in the near future, Johnny, and I'm very
glad
excited
you're
about
saying
it.
that.
As you know, I'm always very excited for my breakfast burrito.
I'm hungry for it today. I had a migraine yesterday.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
I have only had, for those of you who've ever had them, I think it was a migraine. It's the first time one time in my life I think I ever had a headache like this. My eyes felt like they were going to pop out of my skull.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
And the base of my skull on the back through the middle, and I felt like sort of hot. And it was weird. It was really like it hit me last night. I had to listen to the last 3 innings of the Phillies game. Christina's watching for me, and I'm listening to Tom McCarthy and them, and she's describing what's going on to me. I said, honey, Tom's doing that. Mr. Kruk is doing that.
Wow.
I can just let you know, it's all right. She's just frenetic.
Who had it worse, John Kincade or Shannon Sharp yesterday? 610-632-0975.
I think we might.
I can't wait for that one, man.
One of my longest running feuds in all sports.
I know you.
There he is.
I saw you tweeting about it.
I got right on it.
Hey, good for him, man. That's my takeaway. Good for him. All right, so just how good are the Eagles when it comes to the landscape of the season this year and the landscape of the next couple seasons? Not that we want to get ahead of ourselves because we've only played one game, but basically what we came to terms with yesterday when we did the promo to set up today's show was, man, we have it better here than a lot of other teams, even though we react certain ways because we are so close to it and because we have high expectations. I did a topic over a year ago about whether or not expectations help or hurt your enjoyment of a season. And
I remember this.
Majority of people said it hurt. Like if their expectations are high, they didn't enjoy the season as much.
I
60% of people said it.
I got to tell you, I hate that mentality.
I do too, because you're only having high expectations because you have talent, and I enjoy talent.
I want the high expectations so much. Like, to me, a season where you think it could end in a parade, bring it to me every time. Bring it to me every time. That's what I want. I mean, I can't understand being that mentality of fan.
Well, and also that mentality of fan that thought the Phillies were going to miss the playoffs. I want to hear from you.
I know
Are you going to admit that you were wrong? And we're not going to attack you. Just, even though John and Connor might, I'm going to play peace guy today.
Well, you said look, I want to say it too. Is I'll eat any stupid comment I made. By the way, my whole thing about Jalen Hurts going for, I think he's going to have his best career year ever. I haven't danced that line. I am standing there on a podium.
Oh, you got 16 more games of it.
And it might happen. It might fall apart.
Right.
But if it falls apart, I'm not running from it. So it's like, look, every once in a while we overreact and we make a mistake.
Yeah.
If you made that mistake, the door's open for you.
Just say my bad.
But we're closing the gate behind you.
Yes, promise us that you're not going to jump right back off. 610-632-0975. All right, I want to play some audio for you from a competent person who actually has good press conferences.
That's always good.
And actually knows offense. No, that's not Nick Sirianni and his word salad and his inability to understand offenses. But Kellen Moore.
Oh, that is. He's a competent guy. He doesn't get the coffee for the head coach.
No, he doesn't. I got a couple of clips for you I want to play. First, here's Kellen Moore following their Week 1 win and his evaluation of the pre-snap motion.
Motion's an aspect that certainly we want to utilize as much as we can. By game plan, it's going to be different. There's certain schemes that it may give us an advantage. Sometimes it may be more window dressing, and we'll see how much we emphasize it. But I think, again, we want to try and present the defense and stress their pre-snap communication, whether it be tempo, whether it be the motion aspect of it. I think every game plan is going to have a flavor, and so I thought he did an excellent job. I think he saw it well. He saw the adjustment the defense was making, and he was able to find a bunch of completions off of it.
So that second half was about Hurts, obviously.
I'll tell you, I don't know if he does an interview well because he has interviewed for head coaching jobs.
Right.
But him behind a microphone.
Dude,
he understands offensive football. He talks about it flawlessly, and it doesn't take him 20 minutes to wander to an answer.
You know what's amazing?
He's a smart guy.
Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson's offense from last season makes Kellen Moore seem like the Albert Einstein of football. Now,
it does.
But here's the thing: like Kellen Moore, we probably overrate him because of what happened last year.
I guarantee you that I have overrated him because of that.
Because of last year.
I'll
He's
own
probably
that.
still a top 10 offensive coordinator or an offensive mind. But I know for a fact we're probably overrating him because of how bad it was last year. But hearing that clip, you go, this is what I was talking about last year. This is a beautiful thing. Here he is talking about Jalen Hurts some more. And the turnovers that he had last week on Friday, he believes were outlier plays.
I think, sometimes, just the first game, and we had two third and extra long opportunities where, you practice some of those during training camp. And I think, we got a little aggressive, myself play calling, also ultimately, just throw, but, not overly concerned. To me, they're outliers in many cases. I think as we all have seen Jalen in those circumstances, so we feel optimistic we'll be just fine moving forward, and we'll be able to adjust.
All right, do you believe they're outlier plays? What?
If I was at the press conference, bull, Pucky, ridiculous. This is here's where I will go against Kellen Moore.
Okay.
For the first time in my radio career, as the Eagles offensive coordinator.
It's a big day.
That's a bunch of BS. Don't tell me that it's game one. Don't tell me that Jalen Hurts is a 4-year NFL starter. Stop it. Stop with the
New
excuses.
system, new coordinator.
Stop with the mistakes that he made were not because of a new system. They were mistakes that you got to go, oh, wait a minute. I don't throw across my body on the run in the red zone in the highest traffic area of the entire field. I don't do that. That's something that a first-year quarterback maybe makes that mistake and then learns from it, not a fourth-year starter. So I don't buy, but that is obviously a good relationship there that he is covering for his quarterback.
All right, last one I want to play for you. So we start with the good, then the, you don't necessarily agree with that one, but I think you're going to love this last one, as every Eagles fan should, and it's going to lead to another conversation that we're going to have as this show continues. Here's Kellen Moore talking about how his game plans will change each and every week.
Just 1 week, obviously, so that there'll be certain trends and tells associated with 1 week of a game. We obviously know that, and the fun aspect of this thing is every week's kind of its own season. There's a different game plan associated with it. Hopefully, it looks different, and it kind of can buck some of the trends that happened the week before, and also create some new opportunities for some other guys. And so that'll be the exciting part.
So when you hear that, John, you go, "Oh my God!" First off, I want to pray and thank the great Lord above that I have a legit offensive mind now as the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's my immediate reaction is God bless you.
Yeah, God bless Kellen Moore.
Thank you for bringing this guy into my life.
Thank you for being here.
But doesn't that instill much more confidence in you? We knew that the offense struggled last year, and a lot of it had to do with coaching. Jalen Hurts had his own issues, as we know, but a lot of it had to do with coaching.
It did. They didn't put Jalen in a good situation.
And when you hear that man speak, you hear about how pre-snap motion. And again, this is, I don't want to say it's not elemental stuff, but there's probably 15 other coordinators that utilize pre-snap motion to their advantage, to the quarterback's advantage, to the play calling advantage. And then you hear how he changes the game plan each and every week. When you saw last year basically the same thing week in and week out, even when they were winning to the point when they were losing, right? I mean, when you hear that, doesn't that instill more confidence in you?
I got to tell you, every time I hear Kellen Moore, every time I hear Vic Fangio, I honestly just feel relaxed about the guys that they have in there. And again, Vic Fangio didn't work out as a head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, he has been successful in many spots. And I think that he will be fantastic at bringing along a defense. I feel good about it. But Kellen Moore, he has the embarrassment of riches in his hand. He has a totally different job.
Yeah.
He has Kellen Moore is in the don't screw it up.
Right.
Vic Fangio is fix this quickly.
Yeah, right.
Fix this quickly. We want to go to a Super Bowl, so fix this thing as quick as you can. Where Kellen Moore is I actually think Kellen Moore has more pressure on him.
Yeah, because if they struggle, we're going to say, oh, the false messiah, Kellen Moore.
Right.
I think Vic Fangio struggles, you go, well, yeah, he's got no talent.
If Vic Fangio takes them from the 30th defense to the 18th, he's going to be celebrated.
Right, absolutely. It's a great point.
I mean, to me, I think hearing Kellen Moore talk, though, he's a man who knows exactly what he wants to say,
Yep.
And he says it.
All right, so this show loves accountability.
We do.
Right?
Right.
Part of the conversation today is for the Phillies fans out there that thought the season was over like a month ago. We want you to take some accountability. We love accountability on the show. Nick Sirianni loves accountability. It's one of his core values, guys.
I actually think he tries to have it.
Well, you and I have touched on something recently about whether or not he should address some of the things from last season.
Uh-huh.
I want to dive into this coming up next, and I want to see if Eagles fans want to hear it or if they just don't care and the past is the past. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
What kind of sport are we in 2020?
Thursday morning. Give me a number, Johnny.
7.
Figured. Call number 7 to the contest line. 215-263-0975 will win our first of 4 $50 Wendy's gift cards. Savor the drip of Wendy's Saucy Nugs Party Pack. 45-ish nugs slathered in honey barbecue, garlic parm, buffalo, or ghost pepper. Open till midnight or later. Participating locations only. Caller number 7, 215-263-0975. And in about probably an hour, we'll be enjoying our own Wendy's breakfast.
I hope before an hour.
Yeah, I hope so, too. Let's see if Mike Vito's got his crap together today.
And Brendan Gunn is going to be really upset if he doesn't have some Cinnabon pillow parts.
He's ready to go. Yeah, Brendan Gunn hustling on the basketball court last night.
He deserves
Is that
it
what you
after
call
all
that?
Yeah, he was hustling, dude.
He
was
deserves
hustling.
that. So.
Huffing and hustling. All right, so I want to expand on this conversation, John. It's something that you and I have talked about a couple of times. However, it also sounds hypocritical of us.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, we're hypocritical. Call us out on it.
You and I have said numerous times that last year is last year and everything was put to bed and we wanted them to address certain issues on the first day of training camp and just get it out of the way. And they did a lot of that.
I think they did a pretty good job.
Thing, all that kind of stuff. However,
the
evil radio host in me, in terms of content, would like this.
All right, what?
And I would also like to be vindicated because I was scoffed at.
Okay, what are you scoffed at now?
Remember, last year, whenever Nick Sirianni was asked about pre-snap motion and how little they used it, he would basically, we're
going to do this again?
We're going to do this again.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
Let me answer it. And ever since Kellen Moore has shown that he has a clue about the offense in training camp, it's, wow, he's everything is advertised. He's so creative, man. He's got such great ideas, man. Man, my brother at Mount Union told me he's got great ideas. I don't know if his ideas are good, but my brother at Mount Union told me he's got great ideas. See, I can get nasty if I need to be. Because if you scoff at me just because I'm not a football coach, I get a little upset. Get a little offended.
And look, he has to eat this one.
So you believe he should address it?
Yes, I believe he should. Because he was so dismissive about it that I think it deserves to be called out.
And here's why. Now, Connor, let me ask you right away. Do you think he needs to address it? And I will tell you my honest, exact reason why I think he needs to address it. And it's not just because I want to feel vindicated. There's a real reason why.
That is part of it, but we love that.
Yes, but what's your thought, Connor?
No, not remotely. I don't even consider it an issue. I don't think about it at all.
Okay. And I'm sure.
Is that because of the turning of the page thing?
It's simple to me. Think about this. You make a bet with your buddy. Your buddy is convinced 100% he's right. And you say, okay, throw $20 on it or something. They argue, you argue, and then the next thing you know, they lose the bet and they pay you the $20. Do you then make your friends say to you, I was wrong, you were right? Or is the $20 enough skin in the game for you to say that, like, we're good on this?
I just say it to my friend forever.
Right, and you can do,
exactly.
And you can do
I
that.
spiked the football pretty much forever.
Yeah, forever.
I'm such a good friend.
And you can continue to spike the football. But you know what you are if you make that person tell you they were wrong? You're an ass. Because Nick Sirianni already paid up his $20. He lost his offensive responsibility. He gambled.
He lost his job title where he's still making millions of dollars.
I got you. He's still an
let me
NFL
play
coach.
the violin for the guy.
Connor, go on with this, though. I think I understand what you're saying.
And he lost. He tried to die on the hill of not Isaiah Rodgers. He tried to die on the hill.
I'm not even saying that. What gambling did he do? Hey, let's run the same play over and over and over again.
He believed in his scheme.
He believed in it.
And he clearly was wrong, and his organization has told him that by making him take a step back. Now what are we going to do? For our own vindication as individuals, we're going to ask the head coach of the football team to say, just for our goodness, hey, I was wrong when he knows he was wrong, and we know that he was wrong.
Part of it.
I can get to that level of petty.
Yes.
And the reason why I can get to there is because I will absolutely hold myself accountable to the same thing.
And that's fair.
And so to me, I go, yeah, I can be, but I will acknowledge to you, Connor, it's petty as hell.
It is, and that's okay. If you guys acknowledge that and you guys want to be petty,
it's petty.
That's your guys' call.
To me, it's petty as hell.
I don't
but
care
I
about
don't
stuff
like it.
that.
There's nothing I like worse out of a coach or an executive when they give you the, like, we got to do this again.
Yeah.
Let us explain it to you because we're football guys. It's not that hard to understand that what we saw with our eyes last year was a crap product with a crap being executed poorly. And they acted as if we didn't know what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And that was Nick Sirianni acting like Billy Big Balls up there.
And they got served humble pie, and you guys are trying to force feed them a second serving. And I think Nick Sirianni's had enough.
So here's my honest reason, and I would love for people to chime in on this at 610-632-0975, text message or phone call, however you want to communicate with us, social media, email, you name it.
I think Connor, by the way, will ratio us on this.
I think so.
In a big way.
I'm not sure.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I think the people who text in will be like, they're much,
Just
I
move
believe,
on,
much
yeah.
more like Connor. Like, let's just do it. I just found it so condescending last year.
So should Nick Sirianni at some point this season address how he scoffed at people? Remember, the evil media. How many
Yes.
times why are they even asking this question?
Why are we doing this again?
Well, because ultimately the people that cover the team inside and out were correct. And the people that talked about the lack of pre-snap motion on this radio station were correct. And here's why I am still upset about it, Connor. And here's why I would like him to address it. And it's not just about me being petty, which I am. I'm Tom Petty here, okay? Part of it is I had a season last year wasted.
It was a wasted year.
The talent that the Eagles have this season was pretty much the same last year in a lot of areas. The defense has younger players, but Nick Sirianni didn't have anything to do with the defense except for potentially moving on from Sean Desai, even though I don't believe that to be accurate. I believe that was a Howie Roseman call. The
So do I.
offense was Nick Sirianni's. And that offense was supposed to carry the team to victories, just like we are saying about this year's offense. However, I believe this year's offense can do it. We saw it Friday night. I think last season was completely wasted, and that falls on Nick Sirianni because we're talking about a team that we're talking about the window being open. That window was.
It'll make up for last year.
No, but it'll make me feel better.
What are we doing?
It'll still make me feel better.
Being petty as hell.
Damn
are.
right.
No, we are. We are.
Do people want Nick Sirianni to address it at some point, or do you want just last year to be done with? 610-632-0975. I'll be petty. I don't care. Coming up next, we reset the show. Also, I'm curious to see if we learned anything from week one for the Eagles. There was a national article that I read, but we're more in the weeds. So what did we learn from week one? We'll discuss more coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas 97.5, The Fanatic on this Wendy's Thursday morning. We gave away one $50 gift card already. We have 3 more to give away as the show continues, so I'll always let you know when you can call in. Speaking of giving stuff away, how about $1,000?
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Starting Monday morning,
$1,000.
the Kelly Green Cash Contest is back.
It's back?
Your shot to win $1,000 3 times a day. It begins Monday morning, September 16th. We will be doing it at 8 a.m. during our show, 12 noon during the Mike Missanelli show, and 3 o'clock during the best show ever. Each time we'll announce a keyword. You'll obviously have 15 minutes after the hour to enter it, and there's 3 ways to do so: the website, the app, or the code, the text code at 45911. So that comes your way Monday. We'll obviously give you more information as we get closer. But I always like giving away the Kelly Green Cash, especially during football season and especially right before the holidays.
Did you see the Saquon Barkley Kelly Green jerseys, the number 2 seller right now?
Did you also see that I forget if it was the white or the midnight green, is also in the top 5?
See, that's fantastic.
So
everybody
Saquon Barkley has 2 different jerseys
that
in
are
the
in the
top
top 5
of all jersey sales in the National Football League.
My birthday's on the 3rd of October. That's the
Getting there.
only thing that's going to be on my list.
Oh,
Is
yeah?
what?
The only thing I need.
Is the what?
Kelly Green Saquon jersey.
Kelly Green Saquon.
Yes. Mom, if you're listening.
Man, I haven't gotten a jersey in so long.
See, that's crazy to me.
I really haven't.
See,
as much as a fan as I am,
But you also have some classics
yeah, I
that
do.
you like to wear.
Right, but I haven't purchased it like
I have
I think Shady was the last Eagles player.
Really?
I've got the black jersey with AJ Brown, the midnight green with Devontae Smith, the Kelly Green with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, those are all great.
I've got the
great
Zach
selections.
Ertz. I've got the Zach Ertz traditional.
Yeah,
as my sort of throwback one.
yeah.
But that's pretty good. That's come on. Get in. Rally House has a great selection.
Well, of course they do. I could check them
Just
out,
so you
man.
know.
It's your city, it's your house. All right, so coming up around
Shut your mouth.
7:10, maybe 7:15, I want to get into a discussion about what we learned from week 1. Because there's an article on CBS. Somebody did a what we learned from each team in the
Okay.
National Football League. Now, I will tell you right now, this person's answer for the Eagles is very, I'm not in Philadelphia.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this one.
So I would like our answers to probably be better and more in the weeds because we are in Philadelphia. So we'll get to that coming up in a little bit. But, John, apparently the text line has woken up from the latest question about Nick Sirianni. So if
And-
you're just tuning in,
Yes.
our first topic was how good is this Eagles football team, not just this year, but also in the landscape for the years to come, because this football team is a lot better than I think we give it credit for, or it's
Or we
because we're so
scrutinize it.
close. Yeah, we're so close to it that we don't realize we have it better than probably 2/3 of the league, and
Easily.
maybe even more.
Easily
honestly.
2/3.
And if we're talking about the Eagles being a potential 1 seed, then that means
No, it's
we
easily
have it better
2/3.
than 25 teams.
Right.
So, how good are the Eagles? The Phillies fans that were doom and gloom, where are you? And if you're ready to admit that you were wrong, or just say, my bad, just make sure you're not going to jump right back off. Feel free at 610-632-0975. But apparently, John, the text line is woken up because of our Nick Sirianni question.
I would imagine it has. And I expected us to get crushed on it.
Yes. So our question is whether or not you believe Nick Sirianni at some point should address how he scoffed at people last year. And let's face it,
He did.
I know how this goes, John. I know the psyche of a lot of our listeners. They dislike the media.
Good,
right?
Good for Nick.
They dislike us. Some people hate listen. That's
Absolutely.
fine, man. Hate listen all you want. I don't care. We'll have a beer later. There are people that are probably like, oh, no, why should Sirianni apologize to the evil media? Blah, blah, blah. Where I know Eagles fans all across the city, across the state lines of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and man, the Eagles fans across the country, even continental. We got Eagles fans internationally, right? We all talked about the pre-snap motion. Like, this wasn't something that I just said on the radio, so I'm trying to, like, pat myself on the back here.
No.
This is
Absolutely
something
not.
that everybody realized, and everybody had a problem with it. So just because he scoffed at a media member when the question was asked like 3 weeks in a row, and people probably went, "Yeah, Nick, you tell that Tim McManus to pipe down," right? You all felt the same way. So, do part of you Does part of you wish that Nick Sirianni addresses it at some point? John and I say yes, but we're also looking at it from a content standpoint. And I know Connor's like, man, just move on. What do we got?
We have a lot of people calling you guys petty.
All
so
right, good.
figured we'd get a little background
I love
for
it.
that.
I won't
good
back
music.
down, by the way.
Yes.
I'm not backing down. Very
Pushing out
good.
for the guy.
How
Hey,
about
look at you. You actually did some music there. Trevor from Percy checks in. He was the first one to get in on this. Says, I agree with Connor. Petty AF. Everyone already knows who was right and who was wrong. Just move on.
I can't argue with them. I can't argue with them because, as I said to you, I think it is petty, but I'll own it. It's that I don't. If you're going to be the cocky, arrogant, I got to deal with this again. I have to address this again to you non-football types.
Yeah.
Then I expect you to be eat it a little more because he never acknowledged it. He's never acknowledged like the big difference, the pre-snap motion, everything that we're seeing now.
Which, by the way, when Kellen Moore first got here, was, oh my God, he's everything is advertised. Like he was loving on Kellen Moore.
He was.
And I go, yeah, you could have done like half of that.
He could.
And you just didn't do it. Now, John, how long have you been married to your lovely wife?
22 years.
22 years.
Somehow she is.
That's amazing.
Yes. Quite.
Not that we need to have a great relationship with the head coach of the football team. Like, I don't know how much fan base and head coach necessarily matters in terms of relationship, but you've been married for 22 years, so I'm going to look for your expertise here.
Okay.
There are times where you realize who was wrong, right?
It's almost always me.
Yes.
Whether it is or not. No, but I'm saying, no, there is absolutely a time where you acknowledge, yes.
But
Where
you acknowledge
know.
it. You talk
you
about
got to
it.
acknowledge.
Like, there are times where I know I was so in the wrong with something that I did that definitely pissed off Christy. And instead of me just going, oh, well, she knows that I know I'm wrong. Let's just move on. No, sometimes it's still okay to talk about it.
Yeah, but if you're driving in the car with Chris and you're like, I know a shortcut, and you got somewhere you got to be, and you try it, and there's crazy, like, backed up traffic, and you're sitting there in that traffic, and she looks over at you, is it going to make you feel better if she goes, you want to say it wasn't a shortcut?
Yes.
Or are you already annoyed with yourself for making that decision?
No, it'll make her feel better if I then admitted that I was wrong.
But won't it piss you off? And doesn't it not need to be said?
Here's the deal, Connor. You're talking about one occurrence. What if we made that same drive 6 weeks in a row?
Okay.
8 weeks in a row, like Nick Sirianni did, and that drive was spiraling down a cliff.
We drive to the Wegmans. Okay? There's like 3 different ways you can go over to Wegmans. And there's this one that is like back roads, nature trail, like narrow little thing. And for whatever godly reason, Christina thinks that's the road we should always take. And I mean, wildlife jumps out at you.
Yes.
And I hate this road.
It's a scenic route.
But every time we're in the car together, and if I'm driving, it's, well, you're gonna take that way, right? You're gonna go that way, right? So yeah, I'd like to say, and we like, I don't know. I think you have just times where you just got to acknowledge it. You got to eat it.
Yeah, especially when it was an 8-week.
This too, because we got another. It's not so much about you guys being petty, but they say I don't think Nick Sirianni needs to bring up last year at all. I think we need to just move on. He knows he was wrong. He's clearly had it changed with this year and Kellen Moore, and it's been successful through 1 week. So let's just enjoy this season and not think about last year.
All right, I absolutely will raise my hand and say, wrong on our part. It's wrong on our part.
It might be. And
I think it is. It's petty as
I know
hell.
it's petty.
But but at least we acknowledge that it's petty.
But you know what?
I think that there's probably going to be more people that feel
Well, then hold on a second. And this is wrong with me. Nick Sirianni can't get on at the podium and take credit for anything.
Okay, now you're being
No,
outrageous.
no. I'm saying when it comes to this, like the new look offense.
The new look
Kellen,
offense.
He can't take any credit for
No,
it.
he
that
gets
one.
no credit for it.
Yeah, I agree with you
He
there.
can't go like, yeah, in my 5 years here as head coach, we just keep on getting better. He can't say
he can't do that.
anything. So if I'm not allowed to be petty, which that's fine. If you guys want to call me Tom Petty and yell at me today, go for it. I don't necessarily care. It's where I'm going to be for the rest of this show. You know how to find me. I'll be here till 10 o'clock. Enjoy my burrito at some point. But that also means that for the rest of this season, Nick Sirianni can't take credit for certain things when it comes to this Eagles offense because he did scoff at everybody last year, not just the media, not just the people who asked the question, but everybody who had the same understanding. Everybody that put up a run the ball sign. Look, they ran the football. They were split passes and runs in week 1. And what do you know? The defense had to be guessing on every single play, and they won. So our short passing game is an extension of our run game. Baloney. That's part of the reason why your offense sucked last year. Okay? Oh, we don't do pre-snap motion. We don't motion just to motion. No, you do motion just because it keeps the defense guessing, and it gives your quarterback an opportunity to read what's going on in the field. So if you want to say anything, you want to take any credit for the offense this year, I'm not going to be okay with it. If I can't be petty, he can't take credit for it. Do we have a deal?
I'm going to – I don't know.
I think that's a fair agreement.
Well, the one thing I would say is that I don't think he'd have the guts to sit behind a microphone and start bragging and taking like where he is responsible for it.
No, he knows better. He knows what this is. Like, Nick Sirianni may not be the sharpest offensive mind in the history of the NFL, to put it lightly. But he's not a moron.
No, he's not.
He is an intelligent person who understands that he was wrong last year and the offense didn't work. I think we're all on the same page with that now. I don't think we need to dwell on something when we have good things.
I think that Nick Sirianni is a guy, you talk about an intelligent person. I think Nick Sirianni has a skill set of things that he does in his toolkit where he is, I think he's like Rob Thompson. I think he has
He's got
motivational skills. Yeah. He's got interpersonal skills. But a strategist, again, I'm not picking Nick Sirianni in a game of Connect Four.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
He did do well with clock management, though.
He did.
Look, I'll give
clock
Sirianni
management.
credit for
I said it the other day.
You did.
His clock management compared to, Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, it was bad.
Matt LaFleur was, it was a poorly coached game.
Yeah,
by Green Bay.
Sirianni did a good job.
He did.
With his staff.
Nick Sirianni and his staff out-coached Matt LaFleur and his staff.
Okay. So what else?
There,
do we have any others? Give us one more text, and then I want to get to this what did we learn in week 1 conversation. And it's what we learned about maybe moving forward. But what do we got on the text line?
All right, one more here going after you guys. They say, so Mike in Cherry Hill says, so basically the Philly media wants to have their ego satisfied by having a coach directly apologize. Come on, man.
Okay, look, again, that's where I said, I look at it, and we may have 3 more of these guys that chime in. I think I reevaluated that it sounds terrible.
It's totally petty.
It's totally petty.
It's totally petty. But
I understand where I hope that somebody understands if that guy's going to work today and he had somebody tell him act like he didn't know what the hell
your
he was talking
idea
about.
stinks, but then your idea becomes a Fortune 500 company.
Like you don't know what you're talking about. And that's what Nick Sirianni did.
No, you guys are justified in feeling the way that you do. But in expecting a reaction from the head coach to satisfy those feelings, it's not necessary. Whether it's warranted.
Slip it into one of your press conferences.
What?
He talks for 85 minutes in 3 questions. So you mean to tell me he can't say at one point, like, by the way, I reevaluated a lot of my issues from last year. It doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be a big deal.
It doesn't have to be with the arms of the aching playing in the background. I'm sorry for what I did last year. No, just at some point be like, hey, I really reevaluated a lot. Kellen Moore's taught me a lot of things that I misunderstood last year.
He doesn't even have to say it that way.
Okay.
He doesn't have to say it. Kellen Moore's taught me things like that. That to me would be over the top. That would be over the top.
Even though, let's face it.
But the thing is, though, is that I believe there's people who can't admit. Andrew and I have worked together for, since March.
Yep.
I've been doing this job forever. I learn things watching you. I learn things listening to Mike Missanelli over the years.
Be a sponge, man.
You always got to be learning. There's always something in your toolkit you can polish off and make better.
Yeah.
I don't know that Nick Sirianni will ever admit something like that, so it probably is petty to think that he ever would.
As long as he admits it with his actions, which they have so far,
and that's
Connor, good enough for me.
Connor, I think we've gotten ratioed big time on this one.
I knew we would
understand. See, I didn't.
I did. I did.
You did. Okay, I did.
Connor thought there would be more people on our side.
Connor, they were going to truck us, and I
so
understand.
Far, yeah.
I understand.
And look, go ahead. Have at it. 610-632-0975. All right, so CBS. What's this guy's name?
Who is it?
Let me see.
Because obviously my network show was almost CBS for years. So.
Cody Benjamin.
Oh, Cody Benjamin's a good dude.
All right, so
good dude.
Cody Benjamin wrote an article for CBS.
Okay, what did he say?
One thing we learned about each team in Week 1 of the 2024 NFL season. It's not long write-ups. It's because it's all 30 teams. So it's a lot of work to be done. But here's what he wrote about the Philadelphia Eagles. And I believe this is too far away from Philadelphia to necessarily give this kind of an answer. But I want to get your guys' answers on this. So what did we learn from Week 1? So he writes that some of their mojo is back. Their debut against Green Bay was sloppy at times, but they still scored 34, had improved answers for the blitz, and stood tall as a red zone defense against a fellow NFC contender. So the second half of that part, I have no problem with. Some of their mojo is back. I don't know if that's true.
Okay, that is
I can't base that off of one win.
I got to tell you, too, that's as general as it gets.
It is.
That is like... That I'm surprised they even wrote that.
Well, he's doing all 30 teams.
You see, that's where I just go, okay, that's sort of a waste.
Right, like
that's sort of a waste.
The one that he wrote
one
that he wrote for the Saints. Derek Carr is not done at all. Maybe it's the Clint Kubiak influence. Yeah, he played the Panthers.
The Panthers.
Let me write that after week 2.
I think that's way too. There's some things that are written that don't have to be written
because he's got to cover every single team.
Right.
But
whereas, like, if you go to CBS and you our buddy Jeff Kerr,
yes,
who you hear on the station occasionally, he does a good job. Jeff, he's there, eyeballs on it. He's there.
Right.
He's there at the games. I'm going to much more take that as specific, and it's not a knock on Cody.
No.
It's just that what Cody's being asked to do, to me, is sort of ridiculous.
Yeah, what I like what ESPN does, they have so they'll do that exact same thing.
And they all chime in.
But it's Tim McManus's take on the Eagles.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Teron Davenport's take on, I believe he's covering the Titans, right? It's like all the individual
they all chime
people.
In.
Whereas this guy's doing every single team in the NFL. So I'll ask you this. What is something, John, Connor, and I'll give an answer as well, and I would love to hear from you at 610-632-0975 if you don't want to just attack us on our petty nature.
Which you can.
What did we learn from the Eagles' Week 1 performance that you believe will continue as the season progresses?
That they will have an offense that will be willing to lead with the run to set up the pass. That they will be an offense that at times will just say, we are going to run it at you and then open up all that space. I believe the fact that we saw A.J. Brown had more space last one game than I saw him have in any other game maybe last year. That they're going to be a team that will lead with the punch of we can run the ball at you, and then that's going to set up the pass. Whereas with all these passing weapons, you would think it's opposite. I think that that's something that they've shown you now. We can do that.
24 carries, man.
And I wouldn't be shocked to see them come out one week with Kellen Moore and throw the ball 6 times first.
Yeah.
Because they're showing you that. They know that.
Right, absolutely. All right, Connor, you and I will give our answers coming up next. And if you have an answer on the text line or the phone line, 610-632-0975, what did we learn in Week 1 from the Eagles that you believe is sustainable? It'll be a common occurrence as the season goes on. I will tell you mine is defensively, and it's a positive. However, I also want to... What about the rest of the league? What did we learn from Week 1 that you believe will be sustainable? Like Derek Carr being back, according to Cody Benjamin, I don't think that's sustainable. But there are things across the National Football League that we may have learned Week 1 that will be. So it's a nice football day. It is a National Football Day as we have Thursday Night Football tonight, and we can't wait for that as well. It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Wendy's Thursday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic. 263-0975, and you will win, call number 3, our second of 4 $50 Wendy's gift cards on this Wendy's Thursday morning. Savor the drip of Wendy's Saucy Nugs Party Pack. 45-ish nugs slathered in honey barbecue, garlic parm, buffalo, or ghost pepper, open until midnight or later. Participating locations only. I think I just thought, coming into this studio.
You think you just thought?
I think I just thought of probably the best way to explain how delicious the breakfast burrito is from
How's
Wendy's.
that?
I am called the Condiment King.
Yes.
I put nothing on that baby.
Did you call yourself the Condiment King, or is it?
No, I've been called. I would not call myself.
Okay, so someone did give you that
Yes,
nickname.
I've been called that.
Okay.
Yes. I don't put anything on it. I don't do the ketchup. I don't even do hot
I don't
sauce.
put anything on it.
I'm a big hot sauce guy. I don't even put any hot sauce
I
on
don't
it.
put anything on it.
It's just that perfect.
It is.
So if you're call number 3, 215-263-0975, you'll win a $50 Wendy's gift card, and hopefully you'll be going out and getting a burrito because that's something that you should get, and also the sauce.
Drive in this morning and do it.
Yep.
After last night's migraine, I'm looking forward to eating.
Yeah, man, you need it. All right, so we are going to get back to the text line because I'm curious. I asked Connor specifically if we have any of the Phillies apologies. And apparently we have 2 Phillies texts, so we'll get to those coming up in a second.
Good,
because
good,
I
good.
thought a lot of people would run and hide, but apparently there are some
I
people
didn't
chiming
think that
in.
of our audience.
Oh, I do. But
Give him more credit.
I want to finish this Eagles conversation first. So I asked the question, what did we learn in week 1 from the Eagles that you believe will be sustainable moving forward? And yours was that they might use the run to set up the pass.
That is, they can use the run to set up the pass. They can use the pass and then they can switch it up.
It can be balanced.
They now have a balanced attack that they truly can threaten people with both ways.
And part of that is having Saquon Barkley as your running back, but also part of it is having a competent mind as the offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore, which you didn't have last year. Mine is on the defensive side of the ball. I'm curious to see how they handle it this week, Monday night, if certain guys are back and healthy. Quinyon Mitchell deserves to be your outside corner. And he got tested early. So it's not like he played in a game where they played a team that ran the football 40 times and he saw one pass go his way. They tested him early, and they had to stop afterward. And imagine on a good playing surface, and not what we saw in Sao Paulo. I know both teams dealt with it, but imagine on a normal playing surface. And that is a good offensive team with a good quarterback and good weapons. I don't think any of their wide receivers are elite. You guys heard me say that multiple times. I think Jaden Reed's their best receiver, but I don't think they have like an A.J. Brown on that team, right? But he did a great job, man. And that, I believe, will be sustainable. Is he going to have a moment or two where he gets beat on a pass? Absolutely.
Oh, no, that's going to happen.
But he showed right away he belongs.
And, again, one of the handful of the toughest games on his calendar.
Yeah.
And that, to me, looks great. I also think, though, it says something, too, about the fact is the Green Bay Packers wanted no part of Slay.
No, because he's good.
Which that was pretty good. That's like a really good sign.
Top 15 cornerback in the NFL.
They didn't want any parts of him. And I love seeing that almost as much as anything.
So I'm curious, and Connor, we'll get your answer. Does Quinyon start again outside?
Yes.
And you go,
why would you move away from it?
Well, if Isaiah Rodgers is back, he might not be able to play the slot, whereas Quinyon Mitchell can play the slot.
That could be.
It's like the whole 2-position thing, like why mess with 2 positions? Isaiah Rodgers, it's not that Quinyon Mitchell started on the outside because Rodgers just lost the job. It's because he got hurt, right? Whereas Devin White, when Devin White got hurt, we were told from the beginning that Nakobe Dean was the starting middle linebacker. So does Quinyon Mitchell, I would love to see him on the outside again, but is it best for the team to move him back on the inside and Isaiah Rodgers goes out there for a week?
And is Isaiah Rodgers back?
Right, we don't know.
If he is back.
If he's back.
If he's back, then
yeah.
I sort of want him to stay there.
Me too.
Here's why it's so hard, because we haven't seen Isaiah Rodgers play. Like, we don't know what his ceiling is.
Yeah, he could be Darrell Revis for all we know.
So do you put somebody?
I don't know what his bet limit is, but I mean, he's as far as I don't know why you're bringing it up.
I need him to be released.
Just for that joke?
I need the joke to be done.
No, but here's the thing, right?
Okay, what's the over-under on Isaiah Rodgers?
Isaiah Rodgers, I say this out of love. I need you off the team. Like,
I said, what's the over?
I think he could stay.
What's the over-under on his?
But, like, they're not believing him. I trust Vic Fangio's judgment. I do. I trust that he knows what he's talking about. So if they make that move, I think it's for a I know that Quinyon Mitchell has a high ceiling. I haven't seen Isaiah Rodgers play football in like 2 years.
Okay.
So it's the unknown of like what could go wrong. You'd have to have faith in the coaching staff, and I think we do on the defensive side of the ball, right?
Absolutely, yeah. All right, so what's your answer, Connor? What we may have learned in week 1 that can be sustainable?
Mine's defensive as well, but it's a little bit more impactful, I think I'd say.
Okay.
This team's going to create turnovers. And part of that has to do with the offense, too. Like, this offense is not slowing down, and they're going to put teams in a spot where they have to make tough throws, and they have to try and air the ball out. And I think that the defensive secondary has shown that they're capable. Like, it's not going to be Reed Blankenship every time, but they had some looks. Nakobe Dean probably should have had a pick 6. They had some opportunities, and we haven't even seen the pass rush get home for like strip sacks or anything like that. I think we're going to see a consistent stream of turnovers created by this defense. And I think week 1 showed us the kind of game plan that's going to do that.
All right, I love those answers. If you have an answer of your own, feel free to text in or call in at 610-632-0975. Yeah,
Don't screw it up.
Always time to turn it around.
Don't screw it up.
I also want to do the same exact question for the entire NFL outside of Philadelphia. But let's get to the text line about the Phillies, because we asked early on in the show, way back in the 6 o'clock hour, the first segment, for the Phillies fans that were the doom and gloomers, they're done, they're going to lose the division. I hope they still have those bet slips, Johnny.
I hope they're ready to pay
the
up.
people that thought the Philly season was over, which was completely ridiculous. I'm not afraid to say you were ridiculous for saying it.
It never got to less than 6 games.
Are you willing to say, my bad, I probably overreacted a little bit, but will you promise that you won't jump right back to it? If they do something that you don't like, feel free to be critical. I'm not saying hands off the
fair.
Phillies, but just don't go back to, see, this is why I was upset from the beginning, because they stink. What do we got, Connor?
So Jay from Westchester checks in and says, now I will admit, I went on Mike Missanelli's show and went off on Rob Thompson and Kyle Schwarber, saying Rob needs to be fired, Kyle Schwarber needs to be benched. And he apologized and says, I would like to kindly
Schwarber
apologize to the Phillies. I was really frustrated, and I didn't mean what I said. I was just really upset.
All right. Now, see, that's a good man. That's a really good man. Not surprised. He's a Burrowman.
It's just like,
He's of the Burrow.
sometimes when you're really upset, you don't have to say totally ridiculous things.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a pass because he stood up and he put his name on it. We know who he is, and he owned it.
I know that there were people that were starting the Rob Thompson conversation of, if they fall short in the playoffs, do you move on, blah, blah, blah. To say that back in, like, August, like,
Would
look,
be dumb.
it would be. If you want to say it when it happens in the playoffs, hopefully it doesn't happen.
Hopefully
okay.
it doesn't happen.
But, like, to say that in August when they were still, record-wise, one of the top 2-3 teams in the major leagues, and now they're back on top of the National League. And what they have accomplished in recent years under Rob Thompson as the manager, I think that's a bit ridiculous to have called in the Mike Missanelli show. That's not ridiculous. Calling in the Mike Missanelli show every day. But to say that they should have fired Rob Thompson in the middle of the season, it was like, come on, man.
Not great.
All right, what else we got?
We have Matt from Belmar checking in saying, okay, I raised my hand. I was an idiot to think the Phillies would collapse and miss the playoffs. I think I was just scared because this group of Phillies has a legitimate shot at winning it all, something we as a city have only done twice in 40 years.
But he says
that's
totally contradictory. That's why you shouldn't have been scared.
No, it makes total sense.
No,
man.
it doesn't.
It's a defense mechanism.
If you say that the reason you're scared is because you know how talented this roster is and you know they have a chance to win a championship, that is the reason you should never have been scared in the first place.
right.
Yeah, but that's a tough thing for people.
That's basic logic. That's what I can't. Now, that answer drives me nuts.
Right, because this isn't logic. This is emotion. This is fandom. People see big opportunity and they get scared.
When I hear that should have been on my thing yesterday. When I hear that's fandom. No. The vast majority of fans I know are not like that. Are not like, would go to the extreme that the Phillies were going to miss the playoffs, the Phillies were going to lose the division, when it never got to closer than 6 games.
Right.
The vast majority of fans, that's not fandom.
Well, it's not how far he took it. It's the fact that, like, having big expectations. We talked about this before. Do expectations make it hard for you to enjoy a season? Like,
There are some people that struggle with it.
It's a defense mechanism for a lot of people that have lived through the Negadelphia times.
All right, coming up next, we get more text messages, and I want to also answer the question about what we learned in Week 1, but not for the Eagles. Maybe the rest of the National Football League. We'll see what everybody answers there. You can climb in as well at 610-632-0975. And we got a big 8 o'clock hour still ahead of you. Today's headlines with Connor Thomas at 8:05, and at 8:10, we're going to get into a discussion about Howie Roseman. But of course, we're going to eat some burritos before that. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas 97.5, The Fanatic. Connor, we have today's headlines with you. Coming up at 8:05, do you have a golfing story?
I don't.
Did you see what happened with Michelle Beisner-Buck?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
I don't either.
I know the name Michelle was trending yesterday, but it's not.
We'll talk about that reason, too.
Oh, no.
This is not that Michelle. All right.
It's not that Michelle.
No, this is Joe Buck's wife. They were golfing together, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, they were together. Joe Buck hit a tee shot that went rogue, and it broke her leg.
Oh, no.
Like, he literally broke a bone in her leg.
I know somebody who had this happen to them. Their buddy broke their ankle.
Fractured ankle that occurred during
okay.
a freak accident when her husband Joe accidentally drove a golf ball into.
Yeah,
Well-
I've heard that. I've heard of this happening.
As Happy Gilmore once said, she shouldn't have been standing there.
Like, first off, I gotta give Joe Buck credit. That must mean he's got good velocity, exit velo
No,
off the
that must-
tee. He's got good exit velo, but
No directional.
he's not
ability.
hitting it right yet. Now the question is she?
Don't say she's in the wrong.
No, I'm wondering, is she standing? I don't have the full story. Is she standing at the women's tee, which is obviously in front?
You don't
of,
stand in front of somebody. When,
right.
You say she could be. Joe could have shanked it that bad.
Yeah, just like towed it, but do you hit it hard enough to break something? I
Yes.
don't know.
Remember, she's a female that might be smaller of stature.
Yes.
She may not have a lot of weight on her. She may be very slim, and maybe it breaks.
Does there
Yeah,
does
drink
there,
some milk.
Does there
Get those bones
Is
strong.
there
I don't
any-
drink milk. Hey, milk.
Is there any going back from that? Like, so my wife doesn't like golf, right? Like, she doesn't. So, like, imagine if I said, "Come on, honey." Now, clearly, I imagine she likes golf, right, Mrs. Buck. But like, Christy doesn't. So imagine if I was like, "Hey, why don't you come out to the golf course with me?" And then, poof, ping, and
You're sliced.
and
You
you-
just stand
and
to
you-
your right side. You're always fine.
And you hit her?
and I fracture her ankle. Is there any coming back from that?
No, I think it's probably that's probably done. She probably gives up the sport.
No, not even gives up the sport. Like, you hear about that the rest of your life, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, it's one thing. Like, imagine the Caitlin Clark. Isn't she dating somebody that used to play college basketball?
Her boyfriend is
Maybe,
a
I
former
don't know.
athlete at the
from
same
like
school.
D1. Yeah, he played. I think he played basketball. So imagine they're playing 1-on-1, right? And one of them rolls each other's ankle. Like, okay, they both played basketball. They both get it.
And that's not a metaphor, by the way, if you're listening. Dan.
So it's not like if Caitlin Clark rolls her ankle, she's gonna hold that to him for the rest of his life. But like, if I mean, golf. It's
I'm gonna
different.
hear it ever. Is that I told my daughter she broke her. She ended up breaking her feet, each foot, in a matter of a calendar year, and she will always tell people. And my dad said, "Walk it off," because it didn't look like her foot was broken.
I don't know. It depends on the person, though.
And she brings it up all the time. I'm going to tell my
Walk it
kids.
off.
I hit one of my buddies in the forehead with a golf ball before, and he never brought it up again. But I think it's because
Well, he doesn't have any memory
Yeah, I
of it.
wiped
Yeah,
his
yeah,
hard
exactly.
drive
He
by
doesn't
doing
remember
that. I don't know. She'll bring it up in jest for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one to come back from. Fracturing somebody's ankle from an errant tee shot. And it's not like it came from a different area of the golf course. All right, what do we have on the text line, Connor? You can text the show at 610-632-0975. Again, we will get to today's headlines with Connor Thomas at 8:05. And I want to get into a conversation about Howie Roseman and some of his evaluations coming up at 8:10 because I opened up
Can't
my
wait for
fat
this one.
mouth earlier when the show first
That's
started.
it. We didn't get into it too deep, and I.
No. I'm saying something that I said way back when.
Oh, okay.
That may get myself in trouble here. But what do we got, Connor?
Ben from Bucks County checked in earlier when we were talking about how great things are with the Eagles right now.
Yes.
And he said Howie Roseman, as a GM of a different team, might not be as good. Part of this starts with ownership, and I think it does with every organization. Jeffrey Lurie allows Howie to manipulate the cap legally by bonusing players. It's the combination of great ownership and great front office that creates these great times.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal, but good relationships. That Howie Roseman gets painted as like the geek, the outsider, the loser,
non-football guy.
Howie Roseman has good relationships with players to be able to get these and agents to be able to get this deal done. Those
Right.
deals done.
I mean, this
A
is
lot of
why
them
we
don't.
always ask, how does this guy keep on making trades? Well, it's because he's got a good feel of the league.
Honestly, I'd hang up the phone.
I would. If I saw Howie. No, I just block.
I'd be like, Howie, I'll talk to you. I am not dealing
No,
with
I wouldn't even talk to him
Oh,
because
I-
he would still find a way.
No, I would because
I would only text.
I'd want to know what's up his damn sleeve and what's he trying to pull.
He
So that way I
wouldn't
can
tell you,
maybe
though.
learn. No, so that way I can maybe learn with him.
Okay.
I would never make a deal with him. Never.
No, that's
Would
how
do.
they get you, though. You say, I'm just going to go to the used car lot to look at a couple things, and the next thing you know, you're walking out with a 2002 Hyundai Elantra.
Look, it's not a bad car to have. All right, give us one more text there, Connor. You can text the show at 610-632-0975.
So Colby from Central PA checks in on what he learned from week one, because we were talking about that. And he said
Yes.
Saquon's presence makes the entire offense incredibly different. You may say as a defense we need to key on Saquon, but then you leave a lot of guys open. The balance from an elite running back is something that we're going to see all year.
I think that's sort of what I.
Yeah, it's very
thing I
similar.
said.
And
Yeah.
the day they signed him is when I said Jalen Hurts has no excuses this year because he can now also turn to a legitimate running game. Whereas
he can.
last year, I still think they did not utilize DeAndre Swift enough. But hey,
I don't think they did either.
the offense itself was a problem, right? We now know that the Nick Sirianni, Brian Johnson's offense was a problem, and Jalen Hurts had a problem with it.
Like we talk about it. Remember that everyone always says, "Well, it's Nick Sirianni's offense." The Brian Johnson truthers that still exist out there. It was Brian Johnson who lost track of DeAndre Swift in his first game, and didn't give him a
Didn't
carry.
play, yeah.
Didn't give him a carry. So I don't want to hear any of this BS about
Kenneth
the
Gainwell
revisionist history.
Kenneth Gainwell was RB1 to start the season.
I mean, he lost track of him for a game.
Yeah, that can't happen.
It's ridiculous.
All right, coming up next, today's headlines with Connor Thomas. Quick reset of the show. And at 8:10, I want to get into a conversation about Howie Roseman because my fat mouth said on these airwaves that he is question-proof. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I thought
And you
were
called me
drunk.
I was crazy.
Yeah, I thought you were drunk.
I may have been. It may have continued from the previous night. Who knows, John? The Wendy's breakfast burrito works in many ways. Okay, it's not just delicious.
Don't blame this on Wendy. She would have known
I'm saying
better.
It sobers you up. We'll get into a conversation about Howie Roseman and his evaluation process coming up next, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. It's Kincade and Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas, Philadelphia Sports Talk. 97.5 The Fanatic.
It is 8 a.m. on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Wendy's Thursday morning. Still have 2 Wendy's $50 gift cards to give away at some point during the show. One this hour, one in the 9 o'clock hour. So make sure you're listening closely for when I tell you to call the contest line. We have today's headlines with Connor Thomas at 8:05, a Howie Roseman discussion at 8:10. But 2 things before we get to headlines. Number 1, I want to thank our man Colin Berger who checked in here. He watched the Joe Buck video. So Joe Buck did a podcast, so I'm going to explain what happened. His wife actually did a handstand in front of the tee box and was like, hit me, I dare you.
What?
So it wasn't like an errant.
Oh, that's on her then.
Yeah.
She
like,
asked for
Wait
it.
a minute, she said hit me?
So apparently she was doing it. Yeah, like, come on, hit me, I dare you. Like, jokingly. And I think he just.
And Joe Buck
What?
backed up and Happy
He took
Gilmore
a
smoked
swing
it.
at it? What the hell is he doing?
Apparently they do this stuff all the time, according to maybe they like to live life on the edge. Maybe it's their kink. Who do I, a little hard hit
kinda
golf
hilarious.
ball,
That's really bizarre. Like,
People
that's
like to live on the edge.
That's totally bizarre. to me.
So that's what happened. So it's not necessarily Joe Buck's fault. The other thing, so we
No,
haven't
that
really-
is Joe Buck's fault. That is very
he
much his
should've-
Nah, he's a
fault.
nice, thoughtful
he should
guy.
not
If
have
your
done
wife
that.
tells you to
That's
do something,
dumb.
you do it.
Right,
No.
exactly. Good
I can-
job.
Spoken by the man who's not married. I can tell you that one.
So
There's reasons.
the Phillies win last night. They complete the sweep, and we've gotten into a conversation with the Phillies fans who were doom and gloom and thought the season was over and have yet to really man up and say, my bad. We have had a couple of texters chime in, and I would love to get more from you at 610-632-0975. But a couple of things from last night's game that we haven't touched on. Of course, Castellanos hits a home run the night after the plunking. Like, sports are beautiful.
Also on 9/11.
Yeah, I was going to let that one go, but you're right. We were all thinking the same thing.
No, but I mean, it's the truth.
It's unbelievable, the story of Nick Castellanos. But that's why sports is so amazing, right? Bryce Harper, the attaboy, right? The next game, he hits 2 freaking bombs.
Yes.
Last night's the night after Castellanos gets plunked on purpose. The pitcher gets suspended for 3 games, and he hits a home run. And, oh, by the way, he's continuing to have a great season. Not great, but good.
No.
Better than a lot of players on the Phillies.
Better than a lot of players in the Phillies.
But one thing that we haven't talked about, dude, I got to give this kid credit. Or adult. He's older than me.
Kid?
He's older than me.
Who?
Aramis Garcia, man. That was a big moment in the
Yo.
9th
It's
inning.
a huge moment.
2-1 pitch. Not necessarily the best pitch to try to throw a runner out on. Actually, it was actually pretty. It was
I
up
thought
in
it
the
was
zone.
perfect.
Sorry, it was up in the zone. I misread. And then he throws a seed down to Turner, who
That
makes
was beautiful.
Who makes a great stab at. I know Turner's has his issues at shortstop this year.
No, but it was great there.
That was a great play because it was kind of a short hop, but it's a 3-2 ball game. It's a game where the Phillies never ran away with it, and there was only 1 out, so they would have had a runner on second base with 1 out. Instead, it's out number 2 with a 2-2 pitch, and the batter ends up rolling over to end the game. But this guy's 31 years old. He's bounced around in minor league systems. He's been in the big leagues a couple of times. I don't think anybody knew that Aramis Garcia existed in the Phillies organization. I'll be honest with you. I didn't. I had no idea that he was down there. Rafael Marchand gets hurt. You go, damn, there goes his opportunity to come up again because he's always hurt, and that's the biggest shame for Rafael Marchand. But Garcia comes up because
Must
JT
be golfing
Realmuto's
with
hurt.
Joe Buck.
Could be. Realmuto's banged up. He'll be back on Friday, I saw Rob Thompson say. They gave Garrett Stubbs the day off. So here's this 31-year-old journeyman who gets his first game in the majors this season, and he has a huge moment in that 9th inning.
Wait, so you're telling me this series against the Rays, the sweep that you just had, was Cody Clemens, Buddy Kennedy, Cal Stevenson, and Aramis Garcia?
I don't think you're wrong.
How crazy is that?
It's really wild when you think of the stories they're having. And I feel almost guilty in saying that I have concerns about whether the bench is good enough
well,
for this team.
Winning a game against the Rays in
but they
September is different.
Well, the one thing is if the Rays are in a pennant race or a playoff push, they're never trying to steal that base. They're 71.
They're one of the more aggressive teams.
Yeah, but still, they're not trying to steal that. If that game required win and loss, they're in a tie game.
Okay.
I don't think that they are. I don't think that.
Bottom line is they tried, and Garcia threw them out.
They're one back.
No, they weren't in a tie game.
No, they're in one back, and I'm thinking that we'll take the chance of hitting the bomb to win it. I don't think they're getting thrown out there in that situation if they're in a pennant.
Okay, well, in the regular season,
it was good though. No, it was really
look,
good.
the Phillies are still racing to win the 1 seed, so it was a big play by the vet, Aramis Garcia. All right, it's 8:05. It's time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
What do we got?
Oh,
Connor?
you guys got to this quick today. I know what you want to hear. We're going to start with it. Shannon Sharpe had himself a day yesterday. So there was an Instagram Live that happened where some very questionable things were able to be heard in the background. It sounded like Shannon Sharpe was having himself an afternoon.
He was having sex, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, that is what was
somebody
happening.
named Michelle.
And he addressed what occurred and issued an apology, which was interesting because I don't know what really to apologize about. But here's what Shannon Sharpe had to say about the incident.
I'm very disappointed in myself. Not for the I think there are millions and billions of people of consenting age that engage in activities, but to have your most intimate detail on the audio to be heard, I'm disappointed in myself.
It's almost as if he wanted it to happen.
I doubt it, dude.
I don't think that was on purpose.
I don't think that was on purpose.
So you do an Instagram Live like that. I find
He
it.
says he didn't know.
He says he didn't know.
Look,
I didn't.
Here's the funny thing.
Okay.
The initial post of I was hacked, that's got to stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
Because people can find out quickly if you were hacked or not.
the minute he did that, I get a text from a certain large man that we both know, and I put my tweet out flat out saying
I saw it.
If you're hacked, how do they get your voice on what they're hacking?
Right.
Oh, it's AI. No.
I know. He tried saying that he was hacked or whatever, and there were people that's doing the artificial intelligence, which it wasn't.
Ridiculous.
The guy was having sex, and he had the Instagram Live going. I love the apologies. I don't apologize for the act, which you shouldn't.
Nah, man.
You should not apologize for the act.
Get yours on.
But I get why he's apologizing, because he does say that he's professional. And look, like, if anybody did that, you're probably going to issue an apology.
Yeah.
No, most people would be fired. In a media career, most people would be fired.
You think so? If it was
Yes.
accidental, he didn't show anything.
You think it was accidental? I don't. But it's the I think a lot of people would be fired.
I believe it was accidental. There have been images that have been posted, and they say I've been hacked. And it's like, no, you haven't been.
No, dude.
You've just either been drunk or high, and
Well, we'll find out what the reaction will be. Tune into my Instagram, 3 p.m. today.
Right during General Hospital? That's
well,
counter programming.
Of course. We'll move on. Sorry to Shannon Sharpe for what he had to go through.
Oh, please.
That's my Michelle was a
Dude.
incredible part of the.
That's my Michelle. Love it.
on,
Shout out
man.
Michelle.
That's my Michelle.
You guys ready to hear something real dumb?
Yeah.
I've
That's
had
if we
this in
haven't
headlines
already.
the past 2 days, and we haven't gotten to it because we've had busy shows reacting to the Eagles. But
Okay.
Trae Young said something that I don't even know how to explain the thought process to get to this point.
I saw this.
Yeah.
I know what he's getting at, but go ahead.
Listen to this.
I used to have this saying, I used to hate when I used to see guys that's tall and that's all. They just out there, they tall and that's all, and they can finish and do all this stuff. And I mean, if I was 6'8", like, I feel like I would be the best player to ever play this game just because of my mentality and the way I play.
Your mentality to never cover anybody? To play zero defense?
To flop every time he gets touched.
So height is automatically going to give him a desire to play defense? He has no desire to play D.
No, I get. All right, the
come
defensive
on.
side. I get what he's saying. There are guys that are 6'6" that wish they had Wemby's height. Because what Wemby can do is what a 6'6" stretch, a stretch 3 could do or whatever, a wing player could do. But he's 7'2" doing it, right? I get what he's saying. But here's the thing. He learned that game because of his height. Like, there are big men that don't know anything else because they were always taught growing up, hey, just stay on the low block. Right? Like, Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, there's a reason why they're always perennial MVP candidates, because not many big men can do what they can do. Because big men growing up were, hey, you're the big kid, go stand down low.
Who taught him to not desire to play defense? That's ridiculous. Like, you're telling me about how he was... Well, if you're going to be...
He's talking about talking about his offensive game.
If you're going to talk about being the best player ever, and what would that make him? What would that make him? 6'8"?
He said 6'8".
He said 6'8".
6'7", 6'8", whatever it is. He's not even in the conversation because most guys that are thought about as the all-time greats in that are known for some sort of aspect of their defensive game. He's not even in the discussion. He wouldn't
Dude,
be in the top 10.
He's ridiculous for saying it, but I get what he's saying.
Well,
I don't.
I don't know, man. I believe I've said almost this exact thing verbatim before.
You have bragging on yourself.
Yeah, I totally get what he's saying.
I can't
it's
believe
dumb, though.
I can't believe he's a professional athlete saying it, and he is literally being mocked behind the scenes.
Well, he should be.
Probably, yeah, because it's everybody feels comfortable on a podcast these days.
All right, let's wrap up with the replay.
Just how good are the Philadelphia Eagles? If you take a step back and look at the entire landscape of the NFL, this could be a conversation for today. This could be a conversation for the years moving forward because they do have a lot of guys locked up for many seasons moving forward. I think it's a lot better than what a lot of people almost realize or give credit for.
Is there an argument that there are only two teams in football that are in a better spot over the past, let's call it 4 or 5 years than the Philadelphia Eagles?
KC San Fran?
That's the only two.
The team that's actually won it and the team that has been there more than the Eagles.
And that's including last year. Even with last year, this team has been on such an amazing stretch for the past 4 or 5 years. And, oh, by the way, that 4 or 5 years takes you right up to the aftermath of the Super Bowl that they won.
Dude, I could make a case that since 2000, there may only be 2 or 3 teams that have been better than the Eagles.
Whoa, since 2000. I mean, it's Patriots, Chiefs.
Yeah.
No, it's Patriots,
Patriots and Chiefs.
Patriots, Chiefs, and
you can make an argument for Baltimore.
Yeah, you can make an argument because they won.
You can make an argument.
2 Super Bowls, right? The 2000 Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
They had an all-time
the Flacco
defense.
one.
They've been good in the Lamar era.
I can make a case that they are the Philadelphia Eagles since 2000, over the last 24 years, are a top 5 franchise in the
Yes,
National
you can.
Football.
And you can make that factually.
Yes. I mean, division wins. I know the whole, there hasn't been repeat winners in so long, but division wins, double-digit season wins.
No, you can make that argument.
Appearances, playoff success.
You can make that argument fine.
There's not many teams. And if you wanted to do NFC, all right, you have San Francisco, obviously would be in that conversation.
Right, but when you go back to 2000, you open up the Seattle conversation. And
but
that
Seattle,
run that
though,
they
then
went on.
disappears.
Yeah.
For a
the
long
Eagles have
part of that conversation.
The Eagles have never disappeared. Over 24 years,
never disappeared.
They've never
They've
disappeared.
had a down year.
Yes.
Down
and
year.
They go right back
they have
to it.
3. I think they have in this century, I think they have 4 down years.
Yeah,
maybe 3.
I've never seen a rebuild. Connor, we have never seen a rebuild.
I got you. Listen, you could say the same about the Packers with what they went through with Rodgers. They didn't win any more than the one that they got, but they were always in contention.
Right, they're up there.
Then
they
go Jordan Love. So, yes, 2000 expands it a little bit more, but I'm just even talking the post-2017-18 Super Bowl era, where this team was, a lot of people thought they were in trouble when they had to move on from Carson Wentz and figure that out. They've just been amazing.
There are people
They're not the only one. I thought they could be in big trouble. I didn't see this coming with Jalen Hurts.
No, there were people that
Jalen
thought they were going to win 10 games. I thought they were going to win 6 that first year.
I did.
They made the playoffs.
I think I picked 6. I think I picked 7 and 10.
Yeah, they made the playoffs. It was unbelievable, man.
Yeah, I totally missed. I didn't give the thought of Jalen enough credit.
Now,
of what he could be. I thought he could be a good quarterback.
Right.
I didn't think we would be talking about him the way we are.
Obviously, Jalen deserves a ton of credit for that, but probably the majority of the credit goes to Howie Roseman.
It does.
Because Howie Roseman finds a way to fix teams. Now, Howie Roseman also deserves some of the blame for the downfalls of some seasons, but instead of spiraling out of control, he gets the team right back up. And that's why we see this team have maybe a slightly down year, but then back in Super Bowl contention within a year or two. But I do want to have this conversation. I want to open this up as the show continues at 610-632-0975. I want to try to evaluate Howie Roseman today. Because I open up my fat mouth that he deserves no questioning.
You remember this day.
Yeah. And you told me I was crazy. And you're
absolutely nuts.
I probably was crazy. But I think I know it's only been 1 week, but I think it's fair to have this conversation without yelling and screaming. This is just a normal conversation. Nobody should say how he should be fired, and nobody should probably be as crazy as I was saying that he doesn't deserve to be questioned at all. But I want to play 2 clips for you. And there's a reason why. There's a method to the madness.
Okay.
Here's Vic Fangio yesterday, whose press conference was amazing, by the way.
Loved it.
I love that, man. Here he is talking about Devin White and Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, obviously we've talked to him about it. And he's still a good player. He tweaked his ankle last week. He's still part of it and will be part of it.
So what went into the decision, Vic, to have Nakobe as the starter? What did you see?
I just think from the start of camp to the end, he won the job.
That reinforces what Jeff McClain's told us.
Yeah, Andrew DeCecco.
And what Andrew DeCecco's told us.
So I also want to play this one from Vic Fangio yesterday. Here he is talking about Bryce Huff.
He's improving. Obviously, we all had a play or two. I had a call or two that could have been better, but he's improving in that area.
All right.
I love the fact, too, that Vic Fangio put a little on himself.
I do, too.
Because he doesn't give a flip. This
Right.
man's accomplished enough. He's at the end of his career. This is what he wants to go out with a ring.
So the reason why I played those two clips for you, and I'm also going to mention Chauncey Gardner-Johnson here in a second.
Okay.
Howie Roseman paid a lot of money to Bryce Huff.
He did.
And at least in his week 1 performance, he graded out horribly.
Terribly.
And there were concerns about him when he was first signed, or an unknown of when he was first signed, which I think it was more so the unknown of Bryce Huff when he was first signed to a big contract, mind you. Devin White was he didn't break the bank for Devin White.
They were your second and third biggest signings. Well, Huff was your biggest.
Yeah.
Then Saquon, then him.
Right. And
as far as money,
Devin White is not starting for you.
Yep. He got beaten out.
And I'll also mention Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for one specific reason. I love that dude. And I was very upset when he left because his agent was horrible.
Connor broke into his car
and stole it.
I think he was part of that.
So,
hey, man, I needed a ride.
I'm glad that he's back because I think he comes back with talent and also toughness, which this defense did not have in multiple areas. But, Connor, you and I watched the game on Friday. There were 2 moments where I saw him already, the shoulder, like it looked like it might have been a pec injury or something, and then I saw him, my wrist.
Oh, I saw that.
And I'm going, yeah, that guy hasn't been really healthy. And it may be freak injuries, right? The lacerated kidney that he had 2 years ago.
Yeah, you can't call him that as injury. That's just freak.
Right, it's freak injuries. Then last year he missed a ton. He only played 3 games for the Lions last year. He's another guy you paid a lot of money for. Talent. Definitely talented. But he gets banged up.
Okay, what are you going to say here?
No, I'm just wondering Howie Rose's defensive evaluations. If you listen to Bill Colarulo, Bill is very critical of Howie when it comes to the defense. Howie knocks it out of the park offensively.
And I think Bill makes really, really salient points.
So I'm not necessarily making a statement here because it's only been week 1. Bryce Huff could end up being worth every penny, right? Might need, if Nakobe Dean gets banged up, which, I would put some money on that possibly happening because that's been a staple of him, right? That he gets banged up. Devin White might need to play and he might play well.
Well, to just back up the point though is he also signed Saquon Barkley, who has a history of being dinged up.
Yeah. So I don't know, I'm rethinking what I said, even though I stand by it. Like Howie Roseman,
I'm not letting you get away from it.
Nobody should tell him to get fired. Nobody should say anything crazy when it comes to Howie Roseman. I think whenever he makes a decision, I kind of go, you know what? He must see something.
Okay.
But so far, the 2 players that we kind of questioned, the Devin White and the Bryce Huff signing, one guy had a bad week 1, the other guy didn't play.
2 of the top 3 guys he spent money on.
Yeah.
Made a mistake, potentially money-wise. Whether they end up being big contributors, we'll find out.
So, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like an open-ended conversation of Howie Roseman evaluation because he's a hot-button topic in this city, often. Even though I don't think he should be. I think we should just let him work.
Is he a hot-button topic in this city partly because of your fingerprints?
I was a part of it, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you understand, but you understand well where these people are coming from.
Yeah, because they wanted him fired.
Which I never understood.
Hey.
I didn't understand it.
I thought.
And it was 2 years off of a Super Bowl parade.
And it was heading in a horrible direction, not just the talent on the team. There was a lot of, I know what I'm doing, you don't.
Oh, yeah.
And that has been since corrected.
I think that's fair.
I didn't know if it was going to be. And that's what I was worried about. All right, coming up next, I want to play you some more audio. And I might be wrong on this one, too. What else is new? All right? But I think this is an incredible problem to have for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. us a number.
6.
Caller number 6 to the contest line, 215-263-0975 will win our third of 4 $50 Wendy's gift cards. Savor the drip of Wendy's Saucy Nugs Party Pack. 45-ish nugs slathered in honey barbecue, garlic parm, buffalo, or ghost pepper. Open until midnight or later. Participating locations only. Remember, last week I was 4 for 4 on the gift cards in each correct hour. I am 3 for 3 so far today. It's football season, baby. It's no longer
so
time
you're
to mess
focused
around.
and you're ready. Right?
Yeah, you nailed it, and you totally told everybody to have a safe drive to work.
Yeah. Oh, and I just saw a giant pile up on the Schuylkill.
Honestly, there might be another one.
Oh, man, don't do this to me. I hope you're having a safe drive into work. Listen, once it's sold, then I'll remember it every single day.
Gotta remember it.
Oh, man.
Come on.
All right, so I want to play some audio for you, and then we'll get back to our text messages, and you can text the show at 610-632-0975 on any of our topics today. But I want to play something because I roll my eyes at it when I heard it this morning.
What was that?
And
the Shannon Sharp audio?
No, my eyes were wide open during that one. I was like, what is going on here? I saw a tweet. You remember Michelle Beadle?
Oh, Michelle. Yeah, I know
She
Michelle.
tweeted out it wasn't me.
Oh, jeez. Michelle Tafoya.
I mean, that was just, it was an iconic moment yesterday because Shannon Sharp is very online, and then he was very online yesterday. But I hear this audio from Dominique Foxworth, who I think does a tremendous job at ESPN. And he may know better than I do. I imagine that he knows a little bit more about football than I do, Johnny.
I think he does.
But he brings up a potential problem or a potential maybe area of discord for the Eagles.
Okay. What's he looking for problems for?
Take a listen to what he said. This was they were reacting to week 1 and Jalen Hurts. The question was specifically about Jalen Hurts. And remember, I gave you the numbers. When there was pre-snap motion, he was fantastic. When there was not pre-snap motion, the opposing team, he struggled against the defense.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Here's Dominique Foxworth talking about maybe a problem the Eagles may have.
I think Kellen Moore had a lot of time to prepare for one game. Yep. And Kellen Moore did an awesome job doing that. The challenge is going to be with this team to continue to do that when you only have a week. And it's very difficult because Kellen Moore has a lot of talented players on his team and a good offensive line, which presents other problems. He has to figure out how to get them all the ball and also how to attack every point of the field while also installing these motions and shifts. It's a lot to do in a series of time. That play to Saquon was beautiful. They had both of their really talented receivers over there doing posts, taking a bunch of attention that way. The orbit motion shifts the linebackers and takes attention that way. All of a sudden, like, oh, damn, Saquon wide open in the end zone. That's a hard thing to do week in and week out, create those schematic advantages.
All right, so this is what I roll my eyes at. We've got to find a way to get the ball to everybody. I know that athletes have pride, and athletes want the football. They want the basketball. They want to step up to the plate. I get it. My God, dude, if you're winning football games, are we really good? Like, you remember when there was concerns that A.J. Brown was upset because he wasn't getting the ball 2 years ago?
Yes.
And I think that was kind of bogus. I don't think that actually was the truth.
I don't think it ever was a thing.
He didn't want to come out of the Giants playoff game when he was banged up and the Eagles had a 4-score lead.
Okay.
And Nick Sirianni basically had to tell him to sit down. A.J. Brown was upset about it. Okay, he wanted to stay in the game.
That's a different that's a different animal.
If this is a problem, this is a freaking great problem to have. That they have to worry about making sure everybody gets their touches when you have all this talent. Like, we're not talking about, we got to get Quez Watkins the ball anymore. Or, we got to get Jahan Dotson.
I don't believe this is I don't think this is in any way even a real story.
No. And he talked like this is something that Kellen Moore needs to focus on. Does he?
No, he doesn't. Like is he trying to contemplate a problem? Is he trying to create one?
I don't know. He may know more. Look, he's been in NFL locker rooms, right, as a player, so he may know more than I do. But if everybody's getting theirs, which I think they did a pretty good job at spacing the football out, by the way.
Yeah, Devontae had more catches than A.J. Brown
They spread the football out pretty well in week 1. And even Dallas Goedert already did more in week 1, even though the yardage wasn't there. He had already more catches in week 1 than he had a lot of times last year. Like, what more can you do?
I don't know what more you can do.
No.
I think it's sort of bizarre.
I think the whole statement's erroneous, too. That wasn't what keyed me in the first time I listened to that, because I cut that up before the show.
What did you get out of it?
Talking about how Kellen Moore has to do this every week, and he had so much time to prepare for week 1.
Right.
Like, this is Chip Kelly coming in from Oregon. Like, has this dude not been an offensive coordinator for 5 years?
Yeah, he kind of gets the feel of the week-to-week basis.
I think
as
he
an
understands.
coordinator.
Like there's a week 2 game.
Yeah, I think he knows what.
That's
really a weird. It's a weird thing, but I think but he's part of ESPN, eh?
Yes, that was Get Up yesterday.
Okay, I don't watch Get Up.
Neither do I. Well, we're on the air, so.
No, but even they replay it.
Oh, okay.
No.
But I don't know. Like, is this I'm trying to find an issue?
Yes.
Because I don't see this being I get it. If A.J. Brown goes 4 straight weeks where he doesn't catch a football or have a target, and let's say they lose all 4 weeks, that might lead to a problem. But if they're winning football games and Saquon Barkley carries the ball 24 times and has 2 receptions, A.J. Brown has 5 catches for a touchdown, Devontae Smith has 7 catches, Dallas Goedert gets 4. Like, if Jahan Dotson starts being a problem, then that's a conversation that we're going to have. But I'm not really going to worry about Jahan Dotson.
You know what it is? This is a post-show meeting. Okay, we need an Eagles topic for tomorrow. What's it going to be? That's honestly, it has to be that. Because there's no other explanation as to how this
It makes no sense to me.
It doesn't make
Especially coming off of a game where they did spread the football around.
Doesn't make any sense.
It's not like Saquon carried the ball 40 times. Right? Like, A.J. Brown had 5 catches for 119 yards, and Devontae Smith had 7 catches for 84 yards, and Dallas Goedert even had 4 receptions. It's not like they didn't spread the football around.
Yeah, it doesn't. The whole thing the whole concept doesn't make any sense. I just wonder. That's a post-show meeting.
I guess so. Hey, let's get some Eagles related.
And you know, it's the you got to watch that stuff on those Get Up and all those shows.
Yeah, you're right. You sniff that stuff out.
And my buddy Ray will kick your backside too when you were saying that they were making them. You were saying they were telling them you have to take this side, that side. He heard you say it. He was ready to crush you.
Yeah, and I was correct.
No, you weren't. It's not.
I was correct.
What?
So you told me what's his name? Ray. And look, I respect Ray. Look,
Ray's fantastic.
The network is still thriving. I know. Is ESPN dying?
No, they're thriving.
No, they're thriving.
They're doing really well.
They're doing just fine.
They're not closing up anytime.
Put your politics aside. ESPN is doing just fine.
They
right?
are.
He said, "All right, they don't contrive topics." Or
because you did, and I heard you.
Yes,
you said they contrive topics.
All right, and I was wrong. But
Connor, they do not do that.
They don't tell somebody to take a specific side, but they find one of their analysts who does think the opposite side of what Stephen A. Smith said.
And that is absolutely correct. That is exactly what they do.
It still kind of fits the point.
They find things that people disagree on and say, that would be interesting to debate on the air.
Yeah.
They find something they disagree on.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. We're having a post-show meeting. Andrew thinks very strongly about something with Kellen Moore. I go, I think you're nuts. Well, we're doing that tomorrow. Yeah. That's exactly what they do.
But, John, we don't do. All right, here's 15 topics I wrote down. Which ones do you agree with me on here? We don't do that. We just do the topic. If we agree, we agree.
I get you, but they
try to find people to disagree.
They definitely find that is Steven's wheelhouse.
Right.
But they find stuff where they go legitimately. They don't say, hey, the way you portrayed it, and I heard you, was they look for things to say, okay, no. What they do is they have conversations and go, wait a minute. Oh, this is gold. Because I think he thinks you're nuts.
Yeah.
He thinks you're nuts about this.
The method is to try to find things to disagree with so that they can yell and scream for 2 hours.
That's not how you portrayed it. You said it was contrived.
It is kind of
contrived.
It is kind of contrived.
No, it's how they really feel.
They put a show together, if you call that contrived.
It's how they really feel. And they find stuff that they find it interesting to go with. So, by the way, I think Ray just celebrated his 25th year.
Wow, that's impressive.
Congratulations.
Look, ESPN's doing great, so it's not like I'm bashing the
well, he's
the
waiting
product
for you.
In terms of it failing.
Don't do that.
I think they do a tremendous job. All right, give us a text, Connor, and of course we'll get to more text messages as this show continues, as this hour continues. You can text the show at 610-632-0975.
Sorry, text line was backed up for a second. My mom was asking if there was fog.
There was fog?
Yeah, you got to deal with mom text too.
Fog?
Yeah. You haven't seen out the window. It's foggy out there.
Oh, I didn't know that. It wasn't this morning, so I'm just saying.
So we had a texter come in, no name on this one, but just to Dominic Foxworth's point. It says, call me crazy, but doesn't every team only have 1 week to prepare for the next week?
Yes.
I don't get that point at all.
That's a great response on the text line.
Yeah,
I like that one.
I
like that one.
A checkmate.
I missed that.
The game over.
That's very good.
Oh,
That is very
man,
funny.
Kellen Moore, he's only got 1 week to prepare, but Sean McVay, his week's longer. You know, because they're in that different time zone.
No,
they
Sean-
get some extra time.
No, Sean's so specialized. He's found ways to make a 25-hour day.
It's like how Australia is already in tomorrow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, Australia. We got an advantage.
But Jordan Mailata's so good.
Oh,
New
they have
Zealand.
the advantage because they're a day ahead.
It's New Zealand, right?
Yeah, they're the same place.
No, it's not the same place.
Coming
time
up
zone.
next, we get to more of your text messages. And where are the Phillies cowards at? I want to hear from you.
That's a good welcoming way.
Where are the Phillies cowards at?
Come on, you
They're
cowards.
going to lose the division. Where are you at? Sweep, baby.
I haven't heard. I tell you this, there must be a Twitter outage because I haven't heard from them lately.
It's Kincade Salciunas. Don't forget Kevin Agani coming up at 9 o'clock right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Do you know that Manti Te'o is on the NFL Network?
What?
I didn't know that.
No, you did. He is not.
He is.
He is not.
I just saw a video from the NFL Network, him talking about the Bills-Dolphins game tonight.
How?
And then I searched Manti Te'o, and they recently hired him and Ron Rivera as 2 new analysts to the NFL Network.
Well, they also have a third imaginary co-host.
I mean, no, seriously.
Have you watched that documentary?
Yes.
Yeah.
Him trying to still hold on to the it wasn't a fraud thing that I got duped.
Oh, come on.
You're so full of crap.
Come on, man. You got duped.
I mean, that is the most. No, he didn't.
Yeah,
he
duped.
did not.
That person was despicable.
He did not.
That person was despicable.
He
John.
did not.
No.
You know somebody. First of all, anybody. If you were calling someone, and I don't care if it's generational or not. Oh, my girlfriend. He's weird. Long-term.
No,
no.
If you watch the documentary, that person did not care at all.
Let me spit it out. My long-term girlfriend, everybody. Oh, my long-term girlfriend. And it's make-believe. You've never even met her. You've never seen her. That's ridiculous. You never FaceTimed with her. You never anything. That's ridiculous. And trying to spin it like, oh, I'm shocked I got duped.
He had pictures sent his way.
You're a moron.
Of a random person.
But he couldn't do FaceTime.
John, if a girl looks at me for more than 2 seconds in a bar, she's my long-term girlfriend. Some guys are a little bit quicker to get to that than others.
You actually will go up and talk to a girl in person.
Absolutely.
That's the difference.
For the 5 seconds of conversation.
Manti was focused on football. That was part of the documentary.
Yeah, right. And for years, he's so focused on football. The imaginary girlfriend. Stop it. Stop spinning this. He was trying to perpetrate a fraud, an absolute fraud.
All right, so speaking of the NFL, I asked the question earlier, one thing you learned week 1 from the Philadelphia Eagles. What is one thing you learned from the rest of the National Football League? Is there anything that comes to mind? I mean, what I learned, Josh Allen is going to have to do everything by himself with that Bills team. And we made our predictions. I don't have them winning the division. I have the Jets. You have the Dolphins. Connor, you also had the Jets. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Josh Allen's going to have to literally play like a superhero in order for that team to win football games this year.
I learned that Dallas will be able to win games on the backs of their defense.
Yeah.
But I doubt that they're going to be winning a ton of games on the backs of their offense.
I also wonder, the Cowboys' defense is underrated. It is, because you have Micah Parsons. Like, the Cowboys' defense is underrated.
It's underrated.
But how much of it was also Deshaun Watson in the Cleveland?
Not rated.
No, I think it's underrated, but
no, I think
they looked elite week 1.
Yeah,
I don't think they're elite. I think they benefited from playing against Deshaun Watson.
I think they're better than us.
Yeah, probably.
And I think they might be distinctly better than us.
Defensively, probably. Well, they have,
but offensively, I think they're going to have to use that defense. They're going to need it to win, whereas the Eagles can get away with it.
Here's the problem with the Eagles.
You going there too?
Yeah.
Here's the problem with the Eagles defense. And this again comes back to the Bryce Huff conversation. They don't have a Micah Parsons.
No, we don't. We don't have one.
They don't have a TJ Watt. Like, they don't. And I'm not even talking about top players in the NFL. I'm talking about a game record, like a guy who you go, all right, it's third and 6. We need a sack here. I know my guy's going to.
Well, they might. You're looking.
We'll see.
You're looking at the edge, but they could have that guy in Jalen Carter.
Yeah, you're right.
Could.
You're right.
But I think that Jalen Carter and we may have different philosophies on football, but I think the game wrecker up the middle I look at different than the edge.
Oh, totally.
Like, to me, I think the game wrecker up the middle is less when your team is like when you're up by 10 and you can unleash the hounds,
right,
and get after an opposing quarterback. I'm looking for Jalen Carter to be able to make an impact on a first down to break down blow up a play.
The other thing is you can't put, like, Micah Parsons is on an island. TJ Watt's on an island. You could put those guys as wide as you get them and just get maybe you can get a double team chip inside or a tight end. But Jalen Carter is going to have 3 guys to go through every time, whether they're matched up on him or not.
Well, and that could be problematic because he might be double or triple teamed every single time. Somebody else is going to have to make it.
But Fletcher Cox made a living doing that for a long time.
He faced the most double teams as a rookie since Aaron Donald. Last year, Jalen Carter. So all the people are like, oh, man, this Jalen Carter didn't. It's the reason.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
There's a legitimate
There's a respect, and they know the command of his game. Now he has to take it to a next level.
Right.
He has
All
to
right.
show that he can beat them.
Connor, something you learned from the National Football League in Week 1?
Easy one for me. There is a clear worst division in football, and it's not going to be close when everything's all said and done. The NFC South stinks. That division is garbage. Like, I understand what the Saints did to the Panthers. The Panthers are the bottom of the barrel for the whole NFL, but the Falcons, they do not look good, and Kirk Cousins does not look good. Now, I'm not going to call him garbage because we play him this week.
He doesn't look healthy.
Exactly. If they don't have him, you got a rookie quarterback. I'm not buying the Saints. I mean, the Bucs looked okay, but still, it's just like it was Washington, and their defense didn't look great against a Washington team with a rookie quarterback. So I think there's the NFC South that's clearly bottom of the barrel again.
I think you're probably accurate there. All right, give us a text, and we got Kevin Nagandi coming up at 9 o'clock.
All right, we got a learned in Week 1 text here, where the texter says, besides Barkley, Zach Bond and Mekhi Becton are the biggest offseason signings. Stoutland may have Mekhi playing like the all-pro he was projected to be, and the rest of the league, highly doubt anyone will run away from the pack. I don't see any clear team that is head and shoulders above everybody else.
All right, now let's see how
that's fair.
Let's see how Zach Bond continues before we start going, oh, that's the biggest offseason addition.
Yeah, I got to see more than one game.
Like, look, I'm amazed by what he did against Green Bay from start to finish. I'm amazed by what he did.
It was awesome.
I want to go a couple weeks before I go, oh, that was a bigger addition than Saquon Barkley.
I mean, was it Zach Bond or Zach Thomas? I couldn't tell.
Zach Thomas is a great name. All right, coming up next, Kevin Nagandi. Every single Thursday joins us at 9 o'clock. We'll talk to Kevin coming up next right here on Kincade Salciunas about all of our topics today, 97.5 The Fanatic. morning. Still to give away one more $50 gift card at some point this hour. We'll let you know how you can win that on the contest line at some point. I got to tell you about FanFest later on the show because we're starting to get some information about the big event that's just 16 days away, Johnny.
Yeah, you know what Doc asked for yesterday, by the way?
FanFest tickets?
Yeah, well, I said to him, I said, how many do you need for FanFest? And he said, yeah, and then he puts VIP.
I don't blame him.
What?
Aim high, brother. Like, you know.
Aim high all he wants.
What's the worst that can happen? Is say no.
Aim high all he wants.
Go for it, man. You know,
I'll let Rodney Bird handle that.
I text Kevin Gandhi every single week, sometimes last minute, and the worst thing he can say is no. Yeah, he is VIP, and that's why he joins us on the Comcast Business Hotline.
Phoenixville VIP, Temple VIP, National Media VIP.
The great Kevin Gandhi joins us. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. How we doing?
We are doing fantastic. We always love having you all, man. And it's a fun time right now in Philadelphia sports because it's our first chance to react to the win with you. And, of course, we're coming off of a sweep for the Phils against the Tampa Bay Rays. But let's start with the Birds, Kev. Would love to get your initial reactions to the Eagles' win over Green Bay last Friday. Feels like it's been a month.
There's a lot of good things from it. Obviously, Saquon Barkley is a godsend for this offense.
Oh, yeah.
He's so critical in taking some of that pressure off of Jalen Hurts, on who I think sometimes Jalen got in a mode a year ago of I've got to carry the team. I've got to make that pass. And we saw a little bit of that, you know, in the Friday night game. I put that into not a lot of preseason work, new offense, and just sometimes you feel like you got to be the man at all times. He doesn't have to be when you got 26 in the backfield. But, like, to me, that was like one of the positives. I thought the defense was fantastic in the red zone. They had to be. I mean, to give up only 9 points after those 3 turnovers, that says a hell of a lot. There's still some concerns, you know, pass rush. Where's Bryce Huff? Where are we getting Sweat in there in the backfield? The one thing that really stood out, guys, I saw Jalen Hurts. I saw the numbers afterwards. He had a perfect quarterback rating with the blitz. Think about where we were a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
And then to see all that motion, that there was over half their plays were motion plays. And to me, that's just the impact of Kellen Moore so far, which is a good thing.
By the way, Elle Duncan says the same thing sometimes with the 6 Sports Center. She feels like sometimes she has to do too much. You know, carry it and make the big thing. I'm just saying that's something for you two to say.
Then I'll be her Saquon. He doesn't have to do it all.
I want to talk about the defense, though, because I know from listening to you and talking to you over the years that defense has always sort of seems like it's your identity. Offense is cool, but as an Eagles fan, you identify with defense. Do you see the seeds of a defense that you can really be proud of?
Oh, man, yeah. Isn't it nice to have a middle linebacker, guys, who can make plays across all over, you know, the 3 levels of the field? Like, that was refreshing. Quinyon Mitchell was really refreshing. First off, every time you saw him, my oldest, my 12-year-old, every time he made a play, my 12-year-old was like, I keep on thinking that's Malcolm Jenkins. I'm like, yeah, I know, 27, I totally get that. And the way he's built. And he's also, there's a little dog in him, which I love. Like, first game, he wants to show out. He's talking. He's yapping. I love that. You know, the slot position really concerns me. I want to see where Rodgers' health is because Maddox just didn't look like he was comfortable in that spot, and it felt like he was overmatched. But to me, there were signs. If you watch, you know, Baldy does a great job. Brian Baldinger does
fantastic
a great job of looking at that. He cut up some tape of Jalen Carter. And if you just watch that film of Jalen Carter that he cut up, you're like, whoa, dude, this guy he was dominant that night. And then you just wonder what he could have done if that field the sod wasn't so bad. So to me, there was a lot of positives. They still give up the big play. There was still a lot of like open spaces, but I've got faith in Fangio, and let's get some pass rush here against Kirk Cousins at home on Monday night.
All right, I was just about to bring that up, the pass rush. So the field conditions were the field conditions, but I did see Green Bay get to Hurts, even though he did do a great job throwing against the blitz. The Eagles' pass rush wasn't necessarily getting to Jordan Love too much. Do you have any concerns after the Week 1 performance of guys like Bryce Huff and Josh Sweat, where you're going to have to rely on them a lot this season? Anything stand out to you positively or negatively?
Just where are they? Let's get them in the defense. Like they're gonna play a critical role, and if they don't, then we're gonna have some troubles. But, that to me plays a big role here. And would we see some more, corner blitzes, because we have to do corner blitzes to apply pressure? I'll be curious about how Fangio handles it. But right now, it's hey. Let's put it on the side. Let's put it on the first game. Let's kind of see how it is over the next couple of weeks with this pass rush before we. It was one of those observations. It's not an alert right now. Do you guys understand? Like, to me, it's an observation because they won the game, and again, it was. I just come back to they were in real trouble after those 2 early turnovers. And for them to hold the Packers to just 6 points early on, it was a big, monumental leap from where they were a year ago.
When you took a look at the landscape, especially in their division, with the Commanders and the Giants being so poor, whether it's a rebuild or whether it's a burning building, I mean, isn't this a certain pressure on the Eagles to take advantage of this window of opportunity when the division is down to go and get better seeding and go and win a championship this year?
Without question. And to that point, John, I don't even think about the guys in the division. I think about what are the Lions doing and what are the 49ers doing.
Right.
Because in the end, guys, if you watch those 2 games, they're the 2 most physical teams in the league. They want physicality on both sides. Their lines both dominate. They take the identities of their coaches. So to me, more than anything else, the Eagles are competing not so much against the division. They're not competing against the Cowboys. They're competing against the 49ers and Lions because ultimately you want to have home field advantage. And I know we're saying this after one game, but long term, you can't afford to play down to your opponent. You've got to beat the teams that are on your schedule and not worry about anybody else in the sense of, hey, what are the Commanders and Giants and the Cowboys doing? It's more like, where are the 49ers at? Where are specifically the Lions at? Because I think they're going to be their 2 biggest competitors.
Sticking with that, not the Eagles related and outside the NFC East, what is something that you learned in week 1 from the NFL that you think will continue as the season goes on?
I think the Bengals are in serious trouble. And I think their ownership, I think they have the worst owner in all of sports.
Wow.
And for him not to realize, they come cheap all the time. And for them not to take care of some of their guys like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and on the defensive side, I think the Bengals are in serious trouble. And I don't know how healthy Joe Burrow is. And they're staring at themselves at going 0-2. And that could be some, nothing will change in Cincinnati just because the ownership has just been that way. And I think they're extremely cheap. And that's my first observation when you're talking about, like, big picture NFL, teams that could compete, teams that are in the conversation. That's the one biggest takeaway after 1 week.
I know this is when I look at the landscape of the NFL, I look at, you brought up like Joe Burrow. Is there a lot of strong opinions on players that are sometimes drawn too quickly? Do you think Burrow's one of those guys? Do you think opinions have already been drawn on Jalen Hurts and who he is?
That's interesting that you bring it up because I think everybody gives, Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts have the one loss in the Super Bowl, both of them. And both of them were in very close games, and both of them felt like they were in a position to win those games, right? But it feels like sometimes Joe Burrow's given the benefit of the doubt that he's not afraid of anything because he's won in Arrowhead and he's gone head-to-head against the Chiefs. I don't think that benefit of the doubt is given to Hurts. But Hurts got a lot to prove. Can I say one other thing about Friday night?
Yeah.
Can we just scratch the RPO? I'm done.
I'm done with it.
I agree with you, dude.
No one's believing that first step fake, and that's okay. That's all right. But we don't need to constantly do it when you have the option at 26. I just don't want to do the RPO anymore. I don't see where it benefits. You could still have play calls where Hurts runs the draw up the middle. That's fine. I just don't think you're going to create any space or defensive hesitation or respect on that RPO run. Just pitch it out to 26 and let him cook. There's a reason why you're spending the money you spent for him.
Kevin, are we feeling better about the Phillies?
Yeah, it's just, why I feel a little bit better? First off, it's good to see Schwarber continue, and Trey Turner, when he hits in bunches. But really, just seeing Bryce get extra base hits That's a big deal. Seeing other guys help, like guys that weren't even on the roster.
Cal Stevenson, man, Buddy Kennedy.
It's a lot of fun. Cody Clemens, like the three guys you just mentioned, we needed those guys this week, and I don't think anybody's like would have brought those guys up for September. So yeah, I find it interesting with the schedule makers because the Mets are a really hot baseball team, and you got the Mets, I think, 7 times in the next few weeks, and the Mets are fighting the Braves for that last wild card spot, so they're going to be coming to play. So the Phillies can't they can't rest up in the final 2 weeks. They got to still handle their business. But I feel a little bit better. I'd like to see more from Ranger.
Does the number one seed does number one seed matter to you? Because what I would point out to people is the last few years, the last 2 games, the last 2 crushing losses at Citizens Bank Park, they haven't shown up for any of those 4 games. So I think we may overstate the importance of having that home field.
It is funny. The only reason why I want a top 2 bye is for resting up. But we all know that last year and the year before, it was built-in excuses on why a team like the Braves were to lose because they were rusty and the Phillies came in hot, right? So it can work to your own narrative on how you want to explain getting a seeding in the playoffs, right? Because last year we worked it like, hey man, we were red hot because we had to win every game, and we didn't take that week off like the Braves did, right? So I don't know. I just think about the scene. If we're in an NLCS with the Dodgers, I'd like to have Game 7 at home, right? Just with that environment and that scene, that experience. I'd like to have that, regardless. So the 1 seed is still to me important, just because I never count out the fans at the bank, no matter what. And speaking of that, the fans, I just want to remind everybody. Monday Night Football, XL Center. From what I hear, we're blowing the doors out with our coverage with ESPN via down there.
I was just about to ask you about it. I was just about to ask you about it. Are you involved at all with this? It is your team.
I get to enjoy a Monday night with my kids watching the game.
Yep.
That's perfect.
I entertain the idea of going down, but I really enjoy some of my Mondays off with the kids because I work all day Saturday.
Now, Kevin, I will say this. It is cool and all that Jason Kelce will be there and some of the other members of ESPN, but what people don't realize is you guys are fighting an uphill battle because the Fanatic Birds pregame show with Andrew Salciunas and Connor Thomas and Bill Colorula will also be there.
Yeah, so you
guys are fighting an uphill battle there, you know?
Yeah.
You're coming on our turf.
Behind the 8 ball, and that's the problem. And that's kind of one of the big reasons why that we signed Jason Kelce, because we targeted this specific Monday night. Said, listen,
we need to fight. We need to fight those guys over there. You know.
Yeah, we've got to figure this out because Chunas is leading the way there. So it's at Xfinity Live. I know the place will be crazy. Wherever you're at, tailgating anywhere. It's the home opener.
Damn right.
It's Monday night. Plenty of reason to just start drinking at 9 in the morning, listening to you guys, all the way leading into watching them win that game.
Kevin, you're the man. We appreciate. Go ahead, John.
One last thing. Tell Elle Duncan, is she still a Falcon fan?
No. You know the back.
Because wait a minute.
She's a Broncos fan.
I knew that.
Family's from Colorado.
But I'm going to tell you this. When she was an afternoon drive in Atlanta against me, I will tell you, she was masquerading as a Falcons fan. I'm calling her out. I'm calling her out.
Man.
Okay. I'll bring that up to her. And I know
bring it up to her.
I know her husband's a diehard Falcon fan.
Yes.
Poor guy. He's been through a heck of a lot being a Falcon fan.
Thanks, buddy.
Kevin, you're the man. We'll talk to you again next week.
Fellas, be good.
See you, buddy.
There is Kevin Nagandi on the Comcast Business Hotline.
Elle used to be on the Urban FM leader in Atlanta in the afternoons.
And so she would pretend to be a Falcons fan.
And I would tell you, she would be all Falconed up. Now, her husband, a diehard Falcons fan, so that's part of it. But I don't want any of that nonsense this week.
You don't think that happens?
Pick a team. Pick one team.
You don't think that happens in this city?
Yeah, it does. Pick one team, baby.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
People from New York. That's all right.
Pick a team.
You know? That's all right. Okay. FanFest. I mentioned before we got to Kevin, I need to tell you more about FanFest because we're starting to get the sheet, John. This is what I know. This is when I know we're right around the corner. I got the sheet. The FanFest sheet. By the way, we have another online ticket raid tomorrow. Next Tuesday, the 17th at 11 a.m. with the Mike Missanelli Show. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, I don't know what you've been waiting for. Another online ticket raid coming your way on the 17th. And, of course, you can always ask us if you want some FanFest tickets. We'll take care of you. It's all presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. It'll be Saturday, September 28th at Xfinity Live. And we got the Sixers half court that's going to be set up like they do the last couple of years. That's been a lot of fun. The Sixers will be there, which is always a great way to start off FanFest. You can get your favorite Philly team logo painted on your head from Sal's Barbershop.
And Sal's will do it.
I don't see you doing that, Johnny. Connor, I could see you getting a logo painted.
I don't know if I do that or not. I trust Sal's.
I would if there's anybody to trust.
You kidding me? They're the best.
Sal already knocked back one haircut from me. I'm good on that one. That was for the guy to your left.
Yes, that's right.
Nah, no worries. But I'm gonna skip the paint.
Okay, now I know this. Connor's definitely doing this. Try your arm at the quarterback toss.
Oh, he's definitely doing that.
Connor's going to be first in line. Connor's going to kick kid. Oh, I know it's 21 plus, but Connor would kick a kid down to do the
dude,
to get in first ahead of him.
No, let's be fair. It's not try my arm. It's try the backstop they have to see if I can throw through it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. I will say that Connor. I've watched him in the with the fine people from the Sixers in the mobile courts.
He's got ability
and everything. He does have ability, which is good.
He looks like an athlete.
No,
if I was 6'8", I'd be the greatest of all time.
I'm excited for this. The
talk show host,
the FanDuel Giant Casino Roulette Wheel.
Now you see, I'm all over it.
Like live roulette.
Love it.
Like I want.
I'm
I
all
didn't even know. Is there actual
yeah,
skin
it is. It's
going
like
on?
live, because you can win prizes.
I see. That's
you can win maybe you can get a $5 free bet.
Big
stuff
roulette
like
wheel.
that.
Like I want to spin a roulette wheel.
By the way,
Like
roulette 48.5% chance to win every time you play.
And I've got a great strategy. You just pick the number it lands on.
It really works like that.
It works every time.
Obviously, all the obstacle courses. There will be sports memorabilia on display and for purchase, where the portion of the proceeds will benefit the AACR, which you speak of fondly, Johnny.
Wonderful people.
And Wendy's.
Wendy's is all over, which is great.
Will they have burritos at FanFest?
I don't know about that.
They're going to have a lot of things to do: inflatable football toss, cornhole, prize wheel, putt, and a T-shirt cannon. See, the T-shirt cannon, I would like to shoot that at people.
Well, put a burrito in the T-shirt cannon, then we're cooking with gas.
And it's all brought to us by FanDuel. So can't wait for FanFest coming your way on the 28th. All right, give us a text message there, Connor. And then I want to get into a Phillies discussion later on this hour because it's something that you and I have talked about off the air, John, but not something that we've necessarily gotten to on the air. But the magic number is now in single digits.
9.
So we'll get into that coming up. But what do we got on the text line, Connor?
You remember how we asked Phillies fans to say that they were wrong if they didn't believe in this team?
Yeah.
We might have gotten the opposite. Because we have a text here from someone saying why they're still not comfortable with the Phillies.
Okay.
A couple of reasons here.
Why they're not comfortable with the best team in baseball.
Correct. They say
after a sweep of the Rays. Yeah, okay.
For the next 10 games, they're facing teams in the playoff hunt with better players and pitching than the Rays and Marlins. 2, the pitchers will need to pitch gems 0 to 2 runs per game because this team won't hit. 3, being on the road means you'll need to close out the bottom of the ninth, and they don't have someone reliable to do that.
Oh, hold on a second. Estevez is definitely reliable. It might be dicey, but he's reliable. You know how you say the goalpost gets moved all the time?
Oh, yeah.
So these are playoff teams, unlike the Marlins and Rays. So what was your response when the Phils took 2 of 3 against the Royals, 2 of 3 against the Astros, 3 of 4 against the Braves, all playoff teams?
How about when he disappeared when they were 5-1 against the Dodgers, 3-0 against the Brewers? We can play this game all day long. They're the best freaking team in baseball. There are 16 games left. They have the best record in the entire league. So if you're picking on and trying to pick things out about the other best teams, statistically, you'll fall apart.
Yeah.
Because every other team has more issues.
They don't have
it's ridiculous.
88 wins against non-playoff teams and 58 losses to playoff teams. Like that's a moving of the goalposts right there. All right, coming up next, the magic number is in single digits, Johnny. And we've been talking about this off the air a little bit, about whether or not it's happening too quickly. We'll discuss that next. It's Kincade Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. We still have another Wendy's gift card to give away at some point this hour, but how about this one before we do the Wendy's gift card?
Well, we got good news or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Caller number 1 to the contest line. 215-263-0975 will win a 4-pack.
Okay, that's great.
Not just 1, not 2, but 4.
Okay, that's great.
To watch Temple football battle Coastal Carolina this Saturday at 2 o'clock at Lincoln Financial Field. Kids tickets on game day are only $10. Visit AliceTix.com. Call number 1, 215-263-0975, and you get to see the Cherry and the White battle Coastal Carolina.
I hope they battle. I'm looking forward to seeing them battle.
This Saturday at 2 o'clock, Lincoln Financial Field. Call number 1, 215-263-0975. All right, so this is a conversation that you and I have been having off air. And I totally understand your slight concern. You're not panicking by it by any means, but I totally understand your slight concern about potentially locking things up too early because it's something that we have seen the team that the Phillies have eliminated in the playoffs the last 2 years, the Atlanta Braves, lock things up early. I know the Mets thing was 2 seasons ago, but they were in the playoffs. You knew that they were in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Mets and the Braves beat
100
them.
wins, right?
They each had 100 wins.
Yeah.
But it was down to the second to the last day.
Right. But last year they were
comfortably ahead.
Yeah. I've seen other teams comfortably ahead and it not really affect them, but I do understand that we have seen it in the past. Teams struggle maybe in the first playoff game after not playing on a consistent basis. And oh, by the way, with the bye round, it didn't affect like the Houston Astros, but it has affected the Braves. It has affected the Dodgers. At least in the National League, it has affected the teams in the National League. This is not something that I'm necessarily concerned about, but I understand where you're coming from.
Right. Well, I think you should because it has been the Houston Astros have mastered it. Nobody else really has.
Right. That's why they're a dynasty.
It's been a problem.
Yeah.
It's been a problem for other teams this week off. Last year, it was supposed to be, the Baltimore Orioles were the young, hungry, up-and-coming team, and they were out without even winning a game.
Right.
They get swept right off the bat after having that break. You want to know how you're going to navigate it. And right now, there is a chance. I'm looking at it right now and not trying to get too far ahead of myself, but the magic number's 9. Mm-hmm. You got 3 with the Mets this weekend. Now, a win over the Mets on tomorrow night knocks that number down to 7.
Right.
Because they're the second-place team right now. You could easily see, I think, by Monday morning when we come in, the magic number at 6 or 5 or
Very
4,
well could be,
which is crazy. Because then you could be done before the last 10 games of the season.
Yeah.
And then you'd have a week off.
Right.
So you'd have 10 meaningless games unless you're saying, I want to play balls to the wall to get the number 1 seed.
Which is something that they can still look after.
Because I think they'll have clinched the number 2 seed by the end of the Brewers series next week.
Right, and the Brewers have lost a few.
The Brewers are 4.5. Brewers are 4.5 back.
Yeah, so
your magic number over the Brewers is 13.
Okay,
but you remember that 2 of them will come off if you beat the Brewers in 1. All you need is 1 win at Milwaukee, and you will guarantee you got the tiebreaker with them, just like you had with the Dodgers.
Right.
We could end up with. How about this? Let's say they're gonna probably play 7, maybe 8 games of meaninless baseball, then have a week off.
Right. And I totally
worry
get where
about
you're
losing
coming
the
from.
edge. I worry
the
about
2011 Phillies, they down the stretch.
They weren't
playing everybody.
Way early, yeah.
And then they wanted to beat the Braves. Remember, they wanted to beat the Braves, and they swept them.
And they let the Cardinals in.
And they get the Cardinals, and we know what ends up happening.
And by the way, we're going to face that because the same type of scenarios. Because we're going to face there's a chance the magic number could be down to like 3 by the time you play the Mets next weekend in New York.
Right. You could try to just step on their throat at that point.
Keep the Mets out, let the Braves in. Right. And then let Chris Sale in and all that in. I mean, what do you want? Pick your poison.
Right. But my hardest thing is unless you're literally setting a lineup a certain way, it's hard for a player to go into a game and be like, all right, well, it's okay if we lose this game. Like, I don't know. Connor, I'll ask you, because John and I have talked about this a lot. I don't have the same concern, but I know where he's coming from. Like, I don't think John's crazy, because we see it.
You think I'm crazy, but just not on this.
Yeah, it's not on this. I mean, we've literally seen it with the Braves the last 2 years, well, last year specifically, because they were, how many games ahead of the Phillies were they?
They were so ahead.
Right? Like, they didn't have to play. And even if they were playing, there was a mentality of, all right, we could take our foot off the gas pedal, not go balls to the wall, not steal every bag, not try to take the extra base. Let's be careful here. Are you concerned if the Phillies clinch a little too soon?
I'm not as much. I understand the thought process, but let me explain to you why I think it's a different scenario with this team.
Okay.
You have currently not playing Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto, Alec Boehm, Austin Hayes, Edmundo Sosa. When those guys come back, whether the games matter or not, they're going to have to be focused to get into a groove for the postseason. They're going to be ramping up back to being the hitters that they were. So even if the games don't matter in the standings, those guys at bats are going to be important so that they're seeing pitching well by the time you get there. On top of that, Bryce Harper hasn't hit a home run since 1974. So he's going to try and be figuring out the power while this team...
Well, so now I'll ask you the reverse of that, because I hear what you're saying about Bryce, but maybe they go, hey, Bryce, why don't you take like two of the next 3 games off or something like that?
Because don't you think they're going to do that?
I think they will at some point with select players, but I don't know that they will do that as much as you'd expect with the guys coming back from injury, which sounds counterintuitive.
I mean, the players may have the ability to say, like Nick Castellanos, we know now wants to play every single day, right? And he's going to continue to play every single day. But if Bryce Harper goes, yeah, you know what, maybe I should take a day off, and maybe they give him 2 or 3, like I wouldn't be surprised if they do that, depending on how that 1 seed's looking.
No, you're right, but I'm looking at that last series against the Nationals. I don't know that it's going to be a complete give up lineup every day. Like when they clinched,
that's the Saturday Fan Fest, by the way.
Yes, it is,
which is sort of cool.
Like when they clinched in 22, and they had those 2 other games against the Astros. There was nobody in those lineups,
right?
Because they
were all hungover.
Yes, but you had also played right up to the very end.
They were getting, but then again, though. They were getting ready to play right after the season ended. No, wild card.
That's what I'm saying. But that's the luxury that they had was okay, we need to. Well, not a luxury, but the necessity was they have to rest guys as much as possible. Here, as you get guys back from injury, I think there's going to be a bit of an urgency to say, hey, I need to see JT Realmuto hit in the next 10 games. I need to see Alec Boehm hit in the next 10 games to see if their body holds up, to see how they're feeling, to make sure that they are tuned up. I think that will counterbalance a little bit. Not that your concerns are invalid, John, because I think they are valid. But I think it's a little bit different when you have so many guys coming back that need to get back into gear.
Yep. All right. I hear you. All right. Let's go.
It is I really want to. I want to see Alec Boehm back.
Exactly.
And I want to see him.
And you want
back.
to see him swing a few times.
I want to see him swing, and I want to see him. So it's.
And I'm sure he wants to do that.
I know he does.
Yeah.
It's just that I hope. I'm going to tell you. I hope this isn't another situation like where the Phillies last year put off. Even though it's a much more, overwhelming situation, put off Tommy John surgery on a player who needed it, and he's lost for an entire season.
Yeah.
Where he could have been back pitching for this club right now if they had it.
Right.
This is we're so close to the postseason, though, with Alec Boehm, you can't do anything. If you have even
if he had
1%
had the surgery, if he had had the surgery, it would have been okay.
What, a week ago?
He could have been, he could be back because people can come back. It depends. 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, but you're missing the.
At this point, they're going to shoot him up.
I want him in October.
He'll play in October.
I want him healthy.
Our man Tim Verdane's been waiting a while. What's up, Tim? Sorry about that. How you doing, man?
No, good. You guys are good. Hey, you guys are awesome. I've been listening to the station for 10 years.
I know you have, man. It's always great hearing from you.
Thank you, man.
And I'm a golf course superintendent. So earlier you were talking about golf course stories.
Yes.
So I could go on for days about that. But I was playing golf with my father-in-law not too long ago, and he pulled a drive underneath a tree, and he had a tree root about 2 foot in front of him.
Oh, no.
And, oh, yeah, it was bad. Just, scalded out of the rough and hit the tree root right back up, right above his eye.
Oh, my gosh.
Stitches, 13 stitches.
Oh, my gosh.
It was insane. But I did learn from the NFL this weekend. All those people that, thought the Giants and that Washington was going to be good, they're a bunch of morons. This NFC East is just like what we thought it was going to be.
I don't know if the Giants got much love, but the Commanders did. I mean, there was that one guy that we did the CBS article last week or 2 weeks ago. He had the Commanders winning the division, which is come on, dude. Enough with that.
Now, by the way, I still believe the Commanders are going to show you that they'll concern you for the future. I said they're going to be by one of the up and coming.
6 or 7 wins this year?
I think they could get 7 wins,
which is decent for them, but that's not winning the freaking division.
No, it's not winning the division. Exactly.
No, all right, thanks, guys.
Tim, you're the man. We appreciate it.
Take care,
All right,
buddy.
coming up next, we have the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3 presented by Von C. We'll hit up the text line as well before we get out of here. And then the Mike Missanelli Show comes your way at 10 o'clock with Bill Colarulo and Ray Dunn. Kincade and Salciunas will be right back right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
What's up, everybody? This is Bill Colarulo, and you can hear me weekdays with Mike Missanelli from 10A to 2P here on The Fanatic. It's another big sports week as the Eagles are 1-0.
975 will win our fourth and final $50 Wendy's gift card for today. Savor the drip of Wendy's Saucy Nugs Party Pack. 45-ish nugs slathered in honey barbecue, garlic parm, buffalo, or ghost pepper. Open till midnight or later. Participating locations only. And if you don't win the $50 Wendy's gift card, if you're not caller number 5, don't forget your chance to win $1,000 starts Monday at 8 o'clock with us, noon with the Mike Missanelli Show, 3 o'clock with the best show ever for the Kelly Green Cash Contest, all presented by Rand Spear, the accident lawyer. That starts on Monday. All right, it is time now for the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3 presented by Vonsey Brewing.
Now, the Kincade and Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
So I want to know today from you, the audience, just how good are the Philadelphia Eagles? I know it's only been 1 week, right? Half the league is 1-0, the other half is 0-1, and doesn't really matter in the long run. Even though it was a great first win for the Eagles because of the NFC opponent, who the Green Bay Packers were, right? But the Eagles have a good start; they're 1-0. But I want to really try to find out how good the Eagles are because there's something that you say, John, that's so spot on. We are so close to the Eagles, and we ignore other teams, whether they're good or whether their situations are so much worse. The Eagles are in a great situation. And I know people every once in a while will say, well, hold on a second. I'm still worried about the defense. I'm still worried about whether or not these guys are going to be good. How come this guy's not a starter when they paid him decent money, right? I understand where people come from. But, man, our concerns are nowhere close to probably half the league and maybe 2/3 of the league. I mean, the Eagles are a top 10 team, so that tells you right away that 2/3 of the league is in a worse spot than the Eagles. Some of them have bright futures, but there's others that are just spiraling out of control.
We're sitting in a great spot and a great window. And that, to me, though, adds its own level of pressure.
Yes.
About taking advantage of the window while you got it.
Right, because even though he always does it, Howie finds a way to fix everything. But
you should go 5-1 in your division this year.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where you say, take advantage of it. Because I believe going 5-1 in the division compared to 4-2 can be hosting the NFC Championship.
Right, we've talked about the NFC a lot leading up to the season.
Yeah.
I know the 49ers look dominant, and I believe they still will be. The Lions win their first game. It wasn't the prettiest of wins, but they're probably going to still be toward the top of the NFC. But this Eagles team, talking about that window and talking about all the talent they have, they better be in the conversation come, December, January of fighting for the top seed in the NFC.
So to me, I think the Eagles, we should almost be expecting them to be a 1 or a 2 seed.
Absolutely.
And then it's just a matter of, can you get the 1 seed?
Now, I also want to have this conversation. But John and Connor, I want to try to be
nice to whom?
Don't.
I want to try to
or
be.
Who shouldn't be. It's whom or whom?
I want to try to be nice. And I want to talk to a certain group of people that may shut us off when we have this conversation.
No, don't talk politics. We don't talk politics.
No, not politics.
Oh, okay, good. Good.
No, but it's probably the same lunatic fringe.
Maybe more so.
Yeah. It's the people that thought the Phillies stunk, or the people that said they wouldn't make the playoffs or win the division, or the Phillies are done. And
I'm not hearing from them much anymore.
Even if they do make the playoffs, they're going to lose right away. For those of you who are a part of that group of people, why are you quiet? What happened?
We have to sit behind a microphone every day. So when we do something stupid or say something stupid, we have to own it.
Yes.
We got to eat it. Public.
Not that happens often.
And not that, like, when Connor says something dumb or I say something dumb or you do that we don't, like, sort of rush to point it out to the audience. Have some fun with it. I was fascinated by it at the time, and I kept finding, I would find different ways to say double down.
Yep.
Every time someone was telling me they're going to choke away the division, they're going to choke away the playoffs. Everybody worried about the Phillies now?
I knew I couldn't trust
I'm like, what are you doing, Doc? What are you doing? What have you seen that's making you now go, oh, I don't know. Oh my God. The Phillies have never had a magic number of 9 on September 12th. Never in their history, ever. I mean, it's freaking 9.
The great Kevin Agandi joins us. Kevin, good morning.
Isn't it nice to have a middle linebacker guy who can make plays across all over, the 3 levels of the field? Like, that was refreshing.
John, the Philadelphia Eagles have spoiled people like me and Connor and my fellow 29-year-olds.
Yeah,
don't want to get too far, Connor.
Spoiled, rotten, silver spoon Philly fan.
I've been spoiled my entire life because the Eagles have been successful.
No, it was awesome. I mean, absolutely amazing. It's a golden era.
It is.
This is where you guys talk about the Sixers. Sixers have never given us even a silver era. This is a golden era of Eagles football.
Just how good are the Philadelphia Eagles? If you take a step back and look at the entire landscape of the NFL, this could be a conversation for today. This could be a conversation for the years moving forward because they do have a lot of guys locked up for many seasons moving forward. I think it's a lot better than what a lot of people almost realize or give credit for. All right, that's the Key 3 presented by Von C. Brewing Company in Norristown. Try out their Key 3 OG Pills Legendary Philly Lager 2023 World Cup of Beer winner. It's amazing. Walking on Clouds IPA and the Vienna Lager, which is 2 times best of PA winner. Visit VonCBrewing.com. Find out where you can pick up your Key 3 from Von C today, Johnny.
So exciting. Such a good energy today, which is great. A lot of fun. Hey, join us and our generous partners, FT Young Heating and Air Conditioning, and make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. Is Bill going to throw at Mike Missanelli today?
No, he does not believe in that.
Yeah, because it was such a strange conversation yesterday, and I couldn't turn it off.
It was amazing.
I was like, because the differences they have in beliefs with football and hockey and baseball, and it's interesting. There's like a sliding scale of morality with that show.
By the way, Dolphins-Bills tonight. Dolphins 2.5-point favorites. You like anything on the game?
think I would go with the Bills, and I told you because Philly Godfather was pointing out 11-2 against the spread in the last 13 matchups.
Yeah, big trend for the Bills there. Josh Allen, anytime touchdown. He's going to be the new Jalen Hurts this year.
You think so?
Yeah, because he has to do it. I mean, he threw a touchdown pass to Mac Hollins. All right, like that's his red zone threat.
Well, he's faster without the shoes.
Did you see that? Did you see what he did after their win? His new pregame, postgame ritual?
No.
He puts peanut M&Ms in a water bottle and drinks with full of water. That doesn't mix.
What?
That doesn't mix.
Peanut M&Ms in water?
Let me try to be different, bro.
What is he, Gabe Kapler?
It's a way to be different.
He's out of the Gabe Kapler just kook tree.
Yeah, he's definitely a kook. Josh Allen, anytime, Tutty. You got anything on the game tonight, Connor?
I like the Bills outright.
Everybody have a great rest of your day. The Mike Missanelli Show coming your way next with Bill Colarulo and Ray Dunn. We'll be back at it tomorrow on a Friday. Football Friday. I know the game's not till Monday, but we're going to have a lot of fun with NFL talk all day tomorrow as well. And Kincade and Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The magic number's down to 9. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices.